Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2. Boost this. Boost it, baby. Boost it. That's what I'm talking. Boost it. We gon' wanna boost it. Woo! Test Clash. Clash.
Yo, what up? I'm Fat Joe in the building.
Jonathan.
Oh.
(2014) KettleersLive baseball hits the air in 3,
2, 1.
Wiseman hits that out into deep right field. Pickens goes back on it. He's at the wall. Gone! A 3-run bomb by Rhett Wiseman. And this game is tied at 7-1. Stubbs is going to send that one into right field. And the Kettleers will live to see another day. Game 3 is tomorrow.
2014 Kettleers baseball plays here on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Now with the Kettleers warm-up, here's Greg Moraz.
The Kettleers aim to snap a 3-game losing streak as the Eastern Division Harwich Mariners come to town for their second trip of the year to Lowell Park. Good afternoon, everybody, alongside my broadcast partner, Brendan Glasheen. My name is Greg Moraz. Last night at Spillane Field in Wareham, Kettleers jumped out to a 1-0 lead against the Wareham Gatemen in the top of the first inning, but the Gatemen scored 2 in the bottom of the first, 1 in the bottom of the second. The Kettleers then came back and tied it in the third on a 2 RBI double by Jake Fincher, but a disastrous bottom of the fourth inning in which the Wareham Gatemen sent 10 hitters to the plate, scored 4 runs. That made it 7-3 Wareham, and that's how the game stood. And Brendan, you look at the way the trajectory of the last couple of ball games, 7 walks apiece in each of the last 2 games against Falmouth and Wareham, and a disturbing trend. Wareham 7-14 now, last place in the entire Cape Cod Baseball League, but the Kettleers are responsible for 3 of Wareham's 7 wins, and the last 3 ball games have just been something out of left field. Nothing has seemed to have clicked with the pitching staff or the defense.
Yeah, I mean, we're to the point now where we can't even knock the Wareham Gatemen on the last season and a half for them, because that's how poorly Katuitt has played against them this year. A team that went 6-0 against the Gatemen last season, completely opposite this year. And Greg, we saw after last night's game at Spillane Field, much of the conversation was not with the entire ball club. Mike Roberts with a brief speech to the entire team for about 5 minutes, and then he was talking to the pitching staff as we were closing up shop at Wareham for a good 15 to 20 minutes. We both know this pitching staff has been the main reason why this ball club has fell the way it has. It's the reason why they've lost 3 straight games, and you can only do so much offensively to get your team back into ball games. The Kettleers fought in yesterday's game in the early innings, trailing by 3 runs, or rather trailing by 1 run after scoring first in the top of the first. They came back to score 2 in the third, even the score at 3, and then that 4th inning just unloaded on them. Walks killing them. 14 in the last 2 games, as you adhere to. That's been the story. If this pitching staff doesn't turn it around, this team's going to have a long last half of the year. It speaks to a lot of reasons why Trey Wingenter is going to get the start today. Hopefully a stopper that has pitched out of the bullpen all year, but making his first start of the season, a starter at Auburn. Hopefully he's the answer, because Mike Robbins doesn't have many right now.
Trey Wingenter is 2-1 with a 4.38 ERA in 6 appearances spanning 12 and a third innings pitched. We talked to Trey up here in the booth during one of the previous home games, and he said he was comfortable in his role in the bullpen, but I think this is a move out of necessity. Based on the way that the rotation had projected, this would have been Jackson McClellan's start today, but McClellan ended up pitching yesterday at Spillane Field, and you look at Trey Wingenter in his last couple of outings, 3 2/3 innings, 2 runs against Bourne in the 16-6 win, 2 1/3 innings with 1 run, and then basically, Wingenter has been very up and down. When he locates, he's very effective. When he doesn't, well, then he's not. But this is a guy that I believe the Kettleers had hoped would start from the beginning. That's not the way that the rotation played out, but we've seen strokes of genius, strokes of brilliance from Troy Wingenter, and Kettleer pitching has only reached the 5th inning, starting pitching, 3 times this season. Logan James, Vince Fiore, and Jackson. I actually can't remember who the third one is off the top of my head, but
Sam Tavis.
Sam Tavis, who's no longer here. That's why I couldn't remember it. So to have 21 games in which your starters have only reached the 5th inning 3 times, that shows that starting pitching has not gotten off to good starts. And today, don't know how many you're going to see from Trey Wingenter, but on the other side, Jared Poche, the the left-hander from Louisiana State, he's been very good. He was very good this season at Louisiana State, had a 9-3 record for the Bayou Bengals, a 2.45 ERA, a whip of only 1.07, second in innings pitched with 91 2/3, wins with 9, starters ERA with 2.45, and complete games with 1. He was second in all of those categories to Aaron Nola, and Aaron Nola was the 7th overall pick of the Philadelphia Phillies, so Harwich has thrown out a pretty darn good lefty here today.
Yeah, Poche's been dominant his last start, as you adhered to, against the Chatham Anglers. 7 strong, walked 1, struck out 7 in those 7 innings pitched. The ERA stands out. Harwich has the best pitching rotation, top to bottom, bullpen, starting rotation, middle relievers, shutdown guys that need to get 1 out. They are back at what they do best. Pitching is what helps this team, and it's a reason why they're controlling the Eastern Division. The one team they've yet to beat in the Eastern Division is Orleans, a ball club they lost to last night. They are now 0-3 against Orleans. So you want to talk about Cotuit's Achilles heel being Wareham. Well, Harwich's Achilles heel is beating Orleans. Other than that, they've had much success against the rest of the league. They have yet to beat the Kettleers, only the second time these two teams meet. But what helped Cotuit beat Harwich last time out was a dominant start by Vince Fiore, the first we've seen all year from any Kettleers pitcher. And around here at Lowell Park and at Cotuit, we feel that 5 innings is plenty based on what we've gotten from the other guys. And then you add Adam Witt, 7 strikeouts in the 8 outs he recorded. Then Jeff Kinley. On Cotuit's end, their starting pitching was great. Tonight, a guy like Poche, you have to match that as well as score enough runs in timely situations because he's pretty close to being dominant every single inning he's out there, so it's going to be hard to find opportunities.
Coming up on the Kettleers warm-up, one guy who has been hot and remained hot is Jake Fincher. He joined me on Hot Off the Kettle earlier today, and then Brendan Glasheen will come up next with Broadcaster's Corner with Andrew Scaglione and Mark Myers to see what is going on with this Harwich Mariners squad that has continually pitched themselves deep into ball games. More of the Kettleers warm-up right after this.
See which Kettleer is heating up on today's edition of Hot Off the Kettle with Greg Moraz.
Today's Hot Off the Kettle is Jake Fincher, outfielder from North Carolina State. Jake, you've reached base 2 or more times in 6 straight ball games. You're hitting over .430. It seems like every time you come to the plate, you're going to hit a ball, you're going to hit hard, and more importantly, you're going to hit it to the opposite field or up the middle. What has gotten you to the point where you can come to the plate every single time up and know that you have a chance to get on?
I'm just trying to see the ball really well and swing at strikes, and I think my plate discipline has gotten better than it was in the school year, and just swinging at pitches I can hit, and with the wood bat, just trying to barrel everything up. That's the main key I've been trying to focus on, is just hitting the ball in the barrel, really.
You hit over .290 last season with the Kettleers, but this season, number one, you've been here a lot earlier than you were last year, obviously because of the College World Series run that you guys had. But is there a difference between 2013 Jake Fincher and 2014 Jake Fincher in terms of how you go about hitting?
I think I'm just a little bit more mature at the plate and trying not to move so much and jump at the ball like I've had bad habits in the past, and just really just trying to sit back and use my hands.
You hit to the opposite field like nobody's business. You're not really a pull hitter. I mean, I remember one double in the game against Chatham that you hit out to left center field, but more than anything else, you either hit it up the middle or you hit it out to right field. Is that just your style, or is that something that you consciously work on when you're in the cage or when you're on the tee?
It's not really. I work on hitting to all fields. I think it's more of just a timing thing, and that's where I'm getting the pitches right now is on the outer half of the plate, and I'm just shooting them the other way. But yeah, I'll surprise you and pull a ball occasionally, but I just try to stay up the middle and stay focused right behind the pitcher.
Last summer you played a little bit of first base, which is a position that you really didn't play a whole lot at college, and you got a little time at first base last night. Was it nice to put on the first baseman's mitt again, or is it just sort of a need-be situation?
I think we just have more outfielders, so I'm somebody that can step in and play a little first base, but no, it's fun to move around a little bit, but I'm a little, I like to stay a little bit farther away from the ball in the outfield.
Final question for you, Jake. 3-game losing streak coming into today's ball game. The offense has been there, but what do you think is the number one goal to get a W today against a Harwich team that you beat here 2 weeks ago and is the leading team in the entire league?
Well, my roommate Trey Winteker is on the mound today, so I think if he can just set the tone and shut them down in the first couple innings and we can get an early lead, I think that'll be the key to getting a win out here today.
That's Jake Fincher, everybody. Jake Fincher today is hot off the kettle. We'll be back with more of the Kettlers warm-up right after this on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Welcome into Broadcaster's Corner, where we see what's going on with the opposing team from the guys who know them best. Standing by with the Harwich broadcast team, here's Brendan Glasheen.
Now joined by Andrew Scaglione and Mark Myers, the broadcast team for the Harwich Mariners. The Mariners make their second trip to Lowell Park today. The Kettleers and Mariners head-to-head at 5 p.m. here at Lowell Park. Andrew, let's start with Brendan Sanger, batting 6th in the order, playing right field tonight. Probably the most consistent hitter as of late for Harwich, batting .414 in his last 10 games.
He's mostly been a guy that bats toward the bottom of the lineup, a 7 or 8 hitter, but the last couple games he's been up in there the 2 or 3 spot, and he's been very good pulling the ball in the last couple games, which is something we really haven't seen him do. He's more of an opposite field hitter, and he has such a smooth swing. He's really impressed a lot of scouts with his consistent swing and how good he's been just getting on base any way possible.
Now, Mark, one thing that has not changed in comparison to last year's group with Harwich, the pitching staff remains dominant. Best pitching in terms of ERA, top to bottom, starting rotation, bullpen. What's been the key the last 5 games since we played you guys last? What's this pitching staff been able to do as a whole?
They've been able, as of late, to keep the leadoff runners off base. That's helped them, get settled into a rhythm each inning they go out and pitch. Also been able to get first pitch strikes. It's really, as I just said, it helps them get in a rhythm and get ahead in the count. They've been able to throw their own pitches that they like to throw, waste a few pitches. And Jared Pochet going tonight has really been, he had the best performance of the season, besides Jason Ingram's at the beginning in his last appearance.
Mark Myers and Andrew Scaglione joining myself, Brendan Glasheen, for Broadcaster's Corner here on the Kettleers warm-up. So, Andrew, you just heard Mark bring it up there. Jared Pochet, tonight's starter, his last start at Chatham, went 7 innings, allowed just 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 7. A dominating performance that has lived up to the whole team's display of solid pitching. What should we expect tonight from Pochet on the hill?
Well, he's only got a couple innings left in his summer inning limit, so expect him to come out firing right away. He likes to bring the ball right around the plate. He has a good fastball, but I think his best pitch is his curveball. It's really a 12-6 curveball, drops pretty quickly in the zone, and he's really built up to this point. He had a couple good starts in the beginning of the year at doubleheaders. Then his first full game, he really killed it, 7 strong innings at Chatham. Expect him to come out early and pound the strike zone tonight.
And Mark, we'll close with this. I know I mentioned Brendan Sanger at the top, but maybe give me one hitter in this lineup today that the Kettleers pitching staff needs to look out for that could come up with a big hit or provide some sort of spark.
Well, C.J. Hinojosa has been off to a good start. This is his 4th game in the lineup, but since he's got in here, he's been batting 5 for 14, 357, and 4 RBIs. He's really been able to give this lineup a spark, as you said, and get things going once again, pick up for guys that are kind of slack off as of late.
13-8 Harwich Mariners take on the 9-12 Cotuit Kettleers. The best in the Eastern Division visits Lowell Park today, starting at 5 o'clock. Thank you to Andrew and Mark. And now time for more Kettleers warm-up on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
It's time for Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Now with lineups and first pitch, here's Greg Mraz.
Trey Wingenter and the Kettleers have taken the field in order to try and snap a 3-game losing streak. Let's get to the lineup first for Steve Englert's Harwich Mariners coming into tonight's ball game at 13-8. Ian Happ leads off and plays left. Matt Gonzalez, a 2013 born Brave, now over in Harwich, hitting second, playing short. C.J. Hinojosa is the DH, hitting third. Sal Annunziata plays first and cleans up. Danny Zardone hits fifth and plays third. Brendan Sanger is in right field. He hits sixth. Matt Wynn behind the plate, hitting seventh. Skybolt out in center field, hitting eighth. And batting ninth, the son of the great Craig Biggio, number 12, Kevin Biggio.
Left to right defensively in the outfield for the Kettleers, Jackson Glines, Jake Fincher, Rhett Wiseman. Left to right around the horn, Logan Taylor, Drew Jackson, Grant Kay, and Brendan Hendricks. Ian Rice does the catching for Trey Wingenter.
Wingenter 2-1 on the season with a 4.38 ERA, 12 and a third innings pitched, 11 hits, 7 runs, 6 of them earned, 6 walks, and 13 strikeouts. The big right-hander from Alabama delivers a first pitch fastball outside at the belt for ball one, and we're underway here from Lowell Park. Wingenter working quickly, winds, kicks, delivers, fastball tails away. Count to 2-0 on Ian Happ, the left fielder from Cincinnati. Happ, a 2013 Harwich Mariner as well. Righty-lefty matchup. Line kick, 2-0, fastball high and away. 3-0 the count on Ian Happ, who this season, for Steve Engler's squad, hitting at .296, 21 hits and 71 at-bats. A home run, he's driven in 10. 3-0, fastball misses away. A 4-pitch walk to lead off the ball game for Ian Happ, and a disturbing trend starts once again for the Kettleers. 7 walks in last night's game against Wareham, 7 the previous game against the Falmouth Commodores. And already Trey Wingenter has put a man on via the base on balls. Brings up Matt Gonzalez.
It's a conversation Mike Roberts had with the entire pitching staff after the game.
First pitch on the way to Gonzalez. Breaking ball misses inside. That's 5 straight balls to start the ball game for Trey Wingenter. And while we're at it, let's give you tonight's umpires, brought to you by Friendlies, because we want our conversations with our umpires and our teams to be friendly. Rudy Firmbach handles home, pick off the first, back safely. Ian Happ. Dave Turco at first, and Matt McMahon mans third. Wingenter in the stretch, sets at the letters. Righty-righty matchup, pitch to Gonzalez. Sliced right to Brendan Hendricks, and he has Ian Happ napping and tags him out. An unassisted double play turned by Brendan Hendricks. So 2 outs, nobody on. And Trey Wingenter's split stand at 5 balls and 1 strike. Odd way to start the game.
And a nice way to get rid of a leadoff walk, a line shot that's caught by Hendricks. Catches Happ napping and tags him out. But was just mentioning moments ago, Mike Roberts had a conversation with the entire pitching staff after the game. I overheard him saying, if you have to throw just fastballs, go ahead and do it.
First pitch breaking ball misses low and away to C.J. Hinojosa. Tonight playing DH, but the shortstop from Texas. 1-0, Hinojosa takes a ball low. Count to 2-0. 2 straight curveballs low and away to Hinojosa. Hinojosa this season at Texas hit .298, 2 home runs, he drove in 35, 72 hits, and 242 at-bats. 2-0, fastball, catches the low outside corner for strike 1. That fastball at 95, says the gun on Wingenter. Not sure if that one is completely correct. 2-1 offering, breaking ball, sweeps to the inside part of the plate. Called strike 2 from Rudy Firmbach. Count even up at 2-2 on Hinojosa, who's off to a hot start, hitting .357 so far for these Harwich Mariners in 3 games played. Fastball on the outside corner, ring him up. Strike 3 called. Hinojosa down looking. Not a 1-2-3 inning by any means, but Wingenter gets out of it with no damage. We'll head to the bottom of the first inning. Kettleers coming to bat. You're locked into Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League over 20 years. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years.
Harwich has taken the field behind their left-hander from LSU, Jared Poche. And let's give you the Kettleers starting lineup. Jackson Glines leads it off and plays left. Grant Kay hits second and plays second. Jake Fincher in the 3-hole tonight. He's in center field. A new addition to the Kettleers. This name may sound familiar. John Norwood of Vanderbilt hitting fifth and playing DH. Rhett Wiseman hits fifth. He's out in right field. Logan Taylor will play third and hit sixth. Drew Jackson hits seventh and plays short. Brendan Hendricks hits eighth. He's at first and batting ninth, the catcher, Ian Rice.
Let's give you the defensive alignment for the Harwich Mariners. Left to right in the outfield, Ian Happ, Sky Bolt, Brendan Sanger. Left to right around the horn, Danny Zardone, Matt Gonzalez, Kevin Biggio, and Sal Annunziata. Matt Wynn does the catching for Jared Poche.
Jared Poche, a 2-1 record with a 1.06 ERA over the span of 17 innings. He's given up 13 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 5 walks, and 16 strikeouts. But as you heard in Broadcaster's Corner, he is on a summer innings limit. So since he's nearing the end of that, LSU obviously has gone deep into their past couple of postseasons. His time with the Mariners could be done. Harwich in their road grays with stirrups. The Kettleers in their home pinstripes with maroon lettering. First pitch to Jackson Glines, fastball that misses high and away for ball one. Jackson Glines, since he has come to the Kettleers, hitting at .364, 8 hits in 22 at-bats. The left field hitter from Michigan takes a 1-0 fastball at the knees for a called strike one. Count even up on Jackson Glines. Big hole up the middle. Poche delivers, breaking ball low and away. That curve at 75. Count to 2-1 on Glines. Jackson Glines has settled into his leadoff role nicely. Went 1 for 3 last night with a pair of runs scored. 2-1. Swing and a miss. Tailing fastball to the inside half. Glines swings over it. Count even up at 2-2.
Poche dominated against Chatham in his last start.
2-2, breaking ball in the dirt. Good block by Matt Wynn. Count goes to full.
No question his best outing of the year in terms of the amount of innings he went. Allowed just 3 hits. Walked 1 and struck out 7 in 7 scoreless. This is his 3rd road start of the year. His first start at home against Hyannis.
3-2, Glines pokes that out of play to the left side over the Kettleer bullpen down the left field line. But Poche, as you heard, is on an innings limit. He's pitched 17. I wonder what that innings limit specifically is. 3-2, hit right to the second baseman. Biggio fires to first. Glines is retired 4-3. Kevin Biggio, the second baseman from Notre Dame, the son of a man who a lot of people believe should be in the Hall of Fame, Craig Biggio, who played for the Houston Astros. But Biggio has been marred by steroid allegations, and that has hurt his cause for trying to get into the Hall of Fame.
It's unfortunate. It's the era that he played in that really hurts, but Biggio hit 3,000 hits with the Astros his entire career in Houston.
First pitch on the way to Grant Kay. Fastball misses inside for ball one.
And those were the golden days for the Houston Astros. Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell on that right side of the infield, and nowadays Houston trying to build himself back up.
1-0 swung on and hit into left field, a base hit. Kay rounds first, takes a big wind, but will retreat. A 1-out single for Grant Kay. Kay so far on the season now 7 for 18, so he is hitting over 400 since arriving with the Kettleers, and here's a guy who's been here the whole season and is hitting over 400, Jake Fincher. Fincher last night, a pair of RBIs, a double and a single. Poche, runners going, hit and run, hit in the left center field gap. Nobody's going to get this one. Ball rolls to Sky Bolt. He picks it up. Jackson Glines will be held up at third, and Jake Fincher continues his hot hitting. Another double. Kettleers in business. Runners at second and third with only 1 out. for the new man, John Norwood.
You talked with Jake Fincher before today's game for Hot Off the Kettle. Asked about his approach. Hitting the other way is something we've seen from Fincher all year. Most of his hits going to right field or up the middle and center field. This case, he pulls it to the gap. Fincher has been phenomenal getting on base. That average only keeps creeping upward.
And now here's John Norwood, the Kettler DH from Vanderbilt, hit on a line to the left fielder. He makes the catch. Glines will trot home, Grant K trots home. A sacrifice fly for John Norwood. Quickly, the Kettleers jump out to a 1-0 lead here on Jared Poche.
John Norwood of Vanderbilt, another new member that joins this lineup. A shot to left field to drive in his first run of the season. To see Norwood and Wiseman go back-to-back in this order should be a lot of fun. I mean, look at the top 2 through 4 hitters, or 2, 4, and 5 hitters for Katuitt, all College World Series players this past season.
Brett Wiseman steps to the plate. Kettler right fielder from Vanderbilt, who joined the team a week ago today. First pitch, fastball taken at the knees. 0-1 the count on Wiseman. Wiseman has gotten off to a bit of a slow start. 5 hits and 22 at-bats, hitting at .227. Has driven in 2 runs, though. Fincher stands at second. 0-1 count, 2 outs. Kettleers lead 1-0. Poche looks back. 0-1 delivery, swing and a miss. Ball gets away from Matt Wynn. He can't find it. Jake Fincher moves over to third. On the wild pitch from Jared Poche. Count to 0-2 as Wiseman did swing at the ball. Time called. Wiseman steps out. Lefty-lefty matchup. Shortstop Gonzalez shifted more towards the third base bag. So a big hole up the middle. Poche in the stretch, 0-2. Curveball hits slow to the Kevin Biggio, picks it up, flips to first in time to get Rhett Wiseman. But a pair of hits and a sacrifice fly from John Norwood plate the Kettleers their first run. We're through 1, Katuitt up 1-0. You're locked into Kettler Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network and Comcast Channel 99 all the way from Mashpee to Chatham and Channel 13 in Sandwich.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College. Located in Milton, Massachusetts, it offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it.
4, 5, and 6 due up for Harwich against Trey Wingenter. First pitch on the way to Sal Annunziata. Fastball that misses inside for ball 1. Wingenter has thrown 12 pitches, 8 balls, 4 strikes. Wines delivers the 1-0, swing and a miss. Annunziata swung over a looping changeup. Count even at 1-1. Annunziata from Seton Hall. The Pirates located in New Jersey. Annunziata hitting .290 on the season, 20 hits and 69 at-bats, 3 home runs. He's driven in 13. He leads the Mariners in home runs and RBIs. 1-1 offering from Wingenter, swing and a miss. Fastball at 94. Count to 1-2.
This is a role Trey Wingenter was used to with the Auburn Tigers this past season, a kid that has started the majority of his college career.
1-2, foul out of play to the right side. Fastball at 96 from Trey Wingenter. And I'll say this, we haven't seen Wingenter really get it above 92 in his relief appearances, but he's come out guns a-blazing here. 1-2 offering on the way. Change up in the dirt. Count even up at 2-2.
The approach has to be different going into a game as a reliever as opposed to a start.
2-2, swing and a miss. Curveball, cutting to the outside. Back-to-back strikeouts for Wingenter. Annunziata strikes out for already his 21st time, so 70 at-bats, 21 strikeouts for Big Sal. Brings up Danny Zardone, Jared Poche's college teammate at Louisiana State. Zardone hitting at .288, 15 hits and 52 at-bats. No home runs, he's driven in 6, a .367 on base. First pitch swinging, hit up the middle, a base hit. Danny Zardone gets a first pitch fastball at the knees and golfs it up the middle. So Harwich has their first base hit of the ball game. Brings up Brendan Sanger.
Sanger's been their best hitter in terms of consistency. Talked with Mark Myers and Andrew Scaglione, the broadcast team for the Mariners prior to tonight's game on Broadcaster's Corner. Sanger, 12 for his last 29, hitting .410 in his last 10 games.
Why is he hitting 6th? That's the question I have. Because his stats, hitting at .300 on the year. First pitch to Sanger. Fastball misses low for ball 1. Sanger hitting at .300, 15 hits and 50 at-bats. 6 doubles, 7 RBIs, 10 walks, 13 strikeouts, but a .426 OBP. That OBP ranks second, only behind Anthony Hermelin. 1-0. Slider in the dirt. Good block by Ian Rice. Count to 2-0 on the Harwich right fielder from Florida Atlantic. FAU, home of the Owls. Wingenter sets in the stretch. Delivers a 2-0, fouled straight back to the screen. Had a green light on a 2-0 fastball. Clocked at 94 from Wingenter. 2-1 the count. Hendricks holding on Zardone at first. Zardone, a 3-step lead, now gets his secondary. Wingenter sets. 2-1, fouled out of play over the third base grandstands here at Lowell Park. Count even up at 2-2. This game, the WEEI Game of the Week. The crew from 96.3 here today. But we're glad you're tuned into us here on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Wingenter sets, looks to first. Zardone scuttles back. Kettleers will be facing Harwich in 2 of their next 4 games. They will be out at White House Field on Wednesday. 2-2, breaking ball, misses low and away. Count goes to full, 3-2. Jake Fincher shaded slightly to the left of dead center field. Payoff upcoming. Hit straight back. Count remains full. Sanger, the last time he stepped to the plate at Lowell Park, he hit what could have been a game-tying double. But Kyle Barrett stepped to the plate, and he ended up hitting one that would have brought both runners in. 3-2 on the way again. In the dirt, it gets away from Ian Rice. Rounding second. Zardone thinks better of it. Second walk issued by Trey Wingenter. And already, Kettleers in trouble as Matt Wynn steps to the plate. And we talk about shutdown innings. 2 opportunities for both squads last night, Wareham and Katuitt, for shutdown innings. Kettleers failed to get a shutdown inning in the bottom of the first, and Wareham failed to get a shutdown inning in the third, when they scored 1 in the bottom of the second. Matt Wynn, the catcher from the Virginia Military Institute, steps up. Broken bat deflects off of Wingenter's ankle. He picks it up, and then Wingenter falls down. An infield single for Matt Wynn on a broken bat. Wingenter looked like his ankle got caught in the grass. Now everybody coming in to have a chat with Trey Wingenter. It's an odd play.
There have been plenty of those for the Kettleers in the last handful of games, and those are the types of plays that are overshadowed when it comes to this pitching staff, having not, or rather, has only had 3 times this season that they've had a starter go 5 innings. It's plays like that that come back to bite them, because those are extra pitches that don't record an out. It's a situation where Wingenter gets over, a tough play with the bat breaking, goes off his foot, he picks it up, realizes he has no play, and now the base is loaded.
Skybolt, the center fielder from North Carolina, steps to the plate. Bases jacked with Mariners. First pitch changeup in the dirt. Good block by Ian Rice, 1-0 the count. After striking out Sal Annunziata, Danny Zardone singled, Brendan Sanger walked, and Matt Wynn, an infield single, loads the bases. Corners are in. Jackson and Kay double play depth at short and second. 1-0, skied down the left field line. Logan Taylor gives chase. So does Jackson Glines. Glines dives, and he can't make the play. Coming home is Danny Zardone, and the Mariners have tied this one up. It's 1-1.
Tough play down the left field line for Glines and Taylor. Taylor working backwards, of course. Glines coming in on it. And that's smart base running by Zardone to quickly charge towards home plate once he sees it fall.
Correction, friends. The ball was actually caught by Jackson Glines. Our view is obstructed here by the pole. A sacrifice fly for Sky Bolt brings in the runner Zardone. First pitch to the ninth-place hitter, Kevin Biggio, taken on for strike 1. So we couldn't really tell, based on the chain link fence in front of us here in the Arnold Mycock Press Box building, what Glines actually did. 0-1 from Biggio, nub to Logan Taylor. Taylor double clutches. He can't make the play. Another infield single for Harwich. Reloads the bases. It's been an odd start to this game, to say the least. And another failure by the Kettleers to get a shutdown inning. It's honestly not that important of a stat, but when you think about it, it is, because there's always a lot of pressure on a pitcher to go down and shut down the other team after your offense has just given you a lead. Kettleers just have not seemingly been able to do that this year. Here's Ian Happ. First pitch fouled straight back. Counts 0-1 on the left fielder from the University of Cincinnati. So to recap this inning, Annunziata strikes out. Zardone walks. Zardone singles. Sanger walks. Matt Wynn singles. Sac fly to left on a great play made by Jackson Glines. Scores Zardone. 0-1 fastball. Misses low. Count even up at 1-1. And then Kevin Biggio, an infield single. That loads the bases. 1-1 offering on the way from Wingenter. Slider in the dirt. Counts 2-1. Wingenter has not been able to get that slider above any of the hitter's knees, and that's been a big problem because that's been his main breaking pitch. Wingenter throws 4 pitches, a slider, fastball, changeup, curveball combination, but hasn't been able to locate the slider. Fastball catches the outer paint, just barely, according to home plate umpire Rudy Firmbach. Count even up at 2-2. Sanger at third, Wynn at second, Biggio at first. 1-1 score here at Lowell Park. Wingenter delivers the 2-2. Gets away from Ian Rice. It skips to the backstop. Sanger comes in and scores. Everybody else moves up a base. A wild pitch by Trey Wingenter. And Harwich takes a 2-1 lead here in the top of the second.
Well, you don't want to start this trend again. Pass balls kill you.
25th wild pitch on the season.
Both. Wild pitches, pass balls. Ian Rice has been above average the last handful of games for the Kettleers. But you're right, 25th wild pitch, the worst in the Cape Cod Baseball League. that tally.
Runners at second and third, 2-1 Harwich. The Mariners have a 2-1 lead, having only put one ball out of the infield. 3-2, chopped foul. We'll do the payoff again.
And these are the types of plays and types of innings where, if you're Mike Roberts, that's what you're talking about. Giving away outs, giving extra outs to a ball club that is the best in the Eastern Division, that has hit well and is pitched at its best.
3-2. Slider misses inside to Ian Happ. Bases loaded once again. Already that's Trey Wingenter's third walk. 3 singles, 3 walks for the Harwich Mariners. And Matt Gonzalez steps to the plate. Gonzalez was part of last year's Born Brave squad. He hit .224 over at Doran Park. No home runs. He drove in 6. First pitch curveball hits Matt Gonzalez right in the helmet. Gonzalez is all right. Matt Wynn trots in and scores. It's now 3-1 Harwich. And Mike Roberts is coming out to have a discussion with Ian Rice. And the whole infield now comes in. 3-1 Harwich. Here in the top of the second, the Mariners have struck for 3. 3 walks and a hit by pitch. And I'll tell you one thing. Whatever Mike Roberts had to say to the pitching staff after last night's game in Wareham, you and I were breaking down our equipment, as you mentioned earlier. That meeting went on for a good 10 minutes. Hasn't seemed to have translated, but to Trey Wingenter's credit, he's been very effective out of the bullpen, and this being his first start, it's a different mentality.
Yeah, it's a mentality he's been trying to shift with. You know, coming into the summer, your head coach is going to use you as a reliever. It changes your approach. You're not going into a game realizing you're going to throw 60 to 70 pitches based on, you know, Mike Roberts' expectations at least. But you mentioned Jackson McClellan goes into the game yesterday after Logan James, which means Wingenter's getting the start, and you said it. He's had multiple outings where he's gone 2 or 3 innings. The fact that he's been stretched out means Wingenter had plenty to go as a starter today. And also, again, like I said before in the Kettleers warm-up, just to find some sort of answer. Find a guy that can take you long in this ball game. Wingenter has had the stuff today, but it's not hitting the plate.
Here's C.J. Hinojosa. First pitch on the way to Hinojosa. Fastball catches the low outside corner for strike 1. Hinojosa struck out looking to end the top of the first. The Mariners have not had a base hit to plate any of their 3 runs. 0-1 offering. Slider misses low and away. Count even up at 1-1. Their first run was scored on a sac fly. Their second run scored on a wild pitch. Their third run scored on a hit by pitch. Hinojosa waggles the bat. Righty-righty matchup. Infield back. 1-1. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string on him. Good changeup. High and in. Count to 1-2. Hinojosa, the 9th man to bat here in the top of the second. And Trey Wingenter well over 40 pitches at this point. Wingenter stands at 41 exactly. 1-2 offering on the way to Hinojosa. Swing and a miss. High inside fastball. Hinojosa goes fishing. That's Hinojosa's second strikeout in as many at-bats. But Harwich strikes for 3 after 1.5. The Mariners take a 3-1 lead here on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees.
6-7-8 due up for the Kettleers here against Jared Poche. Kettleers struck for a run on a sacrifice fly by John Norwood in the bottom of the first, but Harwich got 3 runs right back in the top of the second inning. Logan Taylor steps to the plate, the Kettleer third baseman from Texas A&M. First pitch on the way to Logan Taylor, hit hard down the left field line, but hooking foul. Home run distance, but nowhere close to being a fair ball. Logan Taylor really the only other player on the active Kettleer roster that has shown consistent home run power. 3 home runs and 12 RBIs, that is active leading categories among Kettleer hitters in those categories. 0-1 breaking ball misses high and away. Count to 1-1 on Taylor. Poche delivers the 1-1. Curveball misses away again. 2-1 on Logan Taylor.
It is too bad for Logan because most of the time his efficiency comes with runners on base.
2-1. Skied out a play to the right side. 2-2 the count.
Leading off the inning right now, but 10 of those 12 runs batted in have come with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. He and Jake Fincher have been the leaders offensively when it comes to clutch hitting. Again, playing in a hole, though.
2-2, ring him up. Strike 3 called. Breaking ball in the inside paint. Taylor was sitting on a fastball. That's Poche's first strikeout of today's ball game. He'll walk back to the dugout, and Drew Jackson steps to the plate.
That has to help Poche because you give up that run based on how good he was against Chatham in his last start. Did not allow a run. You allow a run in the first inning, and then your offense comes to strike for 3. He's going to feel free and easy now.
First pitch swinging, Drew Jackson laces it foul down the third base side. Zardone inched over toward it, but was fouled by a good 2 feet. Drew Jackson has gotten off to a rough start offensively this season for the Kettleers. He only hit 154 at Stanford this year, but Jackson, despite hitting 130, 6 for 46 so far, Jackson shows bunt, pulls back. Taken high for ball 1, count even at 1-1. He's been great at shortstop, and he'll be in the lineup every day because the Kettleers defensively have been so bad elsewhere. 1-1, fouled straight back. Count to 1-2 on Jackson. That you need somebody, especially your shortstop, who makes the majority of your plays. I would say the majority of ground balls go to shortstop at a level like this. You need somebody like that to be able to make those plays. 1-2, broken bat, hit up the middle, charging the second baseman Biggio. It goes off of his glove. Jackson reaches safely. To be determined as to whether that is a hit or an error. They rule it a hit. Don't know if I necessarily agree. But either way, the Kettleers have their third hit of the ball game. Brings up Brendan Hendricks.
Yeah, debatable play there. Of course, Jackson takes the hit to help the old average. An average that's under 200. But nonetheless, third hit for the Kettleers early on.
First pitch, swing and a miss. Brendan Hendricks loves to swing at first pitch fastballs, and Poche, he threw a looping curve at 73 that dipped to the outside corner. 0-1 on Hendricks, the first baseman from USF. 0-1, chop foul behind home plate. Counts 0-2. When the year started, Hendricks was one of 3 players from the West Coast Conference on the active roster. Caleb Whalen from Portland and Kyle Holder from San Diego. Jackson McClellan was added. That made it 4. He was from Pepperdine. Pick off to first. Back safely, Drew Jackson. But now Hendricks and McClellan remain the only West Coast Conference players on this Kettleer squad. Lefty-lefty matchup. Annunziata holds on. Drew Jackson at first. 0-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. High fastball only at 88. Hendricks goes fishing. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Poche. Brings up Ian Rice from Chipola College. I can understand some of the philosophy behind starting Ian Rice. Trace Pereira got off to a slow start yesterday, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. 2 of them swinging on balls that really weren't even close to the strike zone.
Over his head.
First pitch to Ian Rice, fastball catches the outside corner. Count to 0-1 on Rice.
The way Trace Pereira was swinging yesterday, it felt like he was still in Omaha, hitting the home runs in the home run derby. That was the type of swing he was trying to put on the baseball.
Jackson going, he's picked off. Throw to Annunziata, he drops the ball. Annunziata dropped the ball in the transfer from his glove to his hand. And Drew Jackson gets a stolen base, even though Poche had him picked off. So a runner in scoring position, 0-1 the count on Ian Rice, with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Each team with 3 hits. Mariners with 3 runs, although none of them coming via a hit. 0-1 fastball misses high. Count to 1-1. Barrera kind of reminded me a lot of Juan Uribe. Juan Uribe used to swing at the ball with reckless abandon. He still does, but Barrera just needs to get comfortable. He had a very good year. Jackson going on the 1-1. Hit up the middle into center field, a base hit. Jackson rounds third. He scores. Deficit cut in half. It's now 3-2 Harwich.
Ian Rice has swung a hot bat for the Kettleers. He's really making a name for himself at the plate. Last 5 games, Rice has 4 runs batted in. Make it 5 now after that hit. The big home run at Bourne really helped this team sort of a 16-6 win at Doran Park. A couple of doubles as well.
Runner going, pitch hits the inside corner, throw down to second base. Rice is safe. Bang bang play. Gonzalez charged over from short. A curveball to Jackson Glines taken for strike 1. The Kettleers have the tying run in scoring position. 0-1 the count on Jackson Glines, who grounded out to second to lead off the game for the Kettleers. 0-1, Jackson laces it down the right field line, foul. 0-2 the count on the left fielder from the University of Michigan. Both teams have, in 2 shutdown inning opportunities, have failed to convert. Poche sets, looks back at second. 0-2 in the dirt. Wynn keeps it in front of him. 1-2 on Jackson Glines. On deck, Grant K. Mariners have the infield back. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string on him with a curve. Glines walks back to the dugout. That's the 3rd out of the inning. But the Kettleers do get 1 on a 2-out RBI by Ian Rice. We're through 2. Mariners still lead this one 3-2 here on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's
Back at Lowell Park, a 3-2 lead for the Harwich Mariners on the Cotuit Kettleers. With Greg Mraz, Brendan Glasheen on hand with you on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 4, 5, and 6 come to the plate for Steve Anglert's Mariners. Trey Wingenter back on the bump for the third inning. First pitch slider. Knocks the outside corner for a strike. No balls, one strike to Annunziata. Annunziata led off the second inning with a strikeout. Mariners batted the round. 0-1 fastball. Paints the outside corner. Hits the glove of Rice. Awfully hard. Could hear it up here in the booth. 0-2. Wingenter already a high pitch count at 45 pitches. 0-2 pitch. Annunziata chops it over towards second. Picked up by Kay. Ranges to his left. Throw to first in time. To retire Annunziata, one down.
This is a very important inning for Trey Wingenter because he was not accurate in the first inning. He threw 7 balls to 4 strikes despite not allowing a run. And then he ended last inning having thrown 45 pitches. And all 9 Mariners in the lineup came to the plate.
Danny Zardone, the third baseman, bats now for Harwich. Takes a ball low and inside. Wingenter thus far the line, 2 1/3 innings pitched, has allowed 3 hits, 3 runs. He's walked 3 and struck out 3. 1-0, a slider tails too far away to the right-handed hitting Zardone of Louisiana State University. An open stance wearing the stirrup socks, 2-0. Zardone chops it off his left ankle foul. 2 balls, 1 strike. Trey Wingenter making his first start of the summer for Cotuit, has been out of the bullpen 5 times prior to the start today. 2-1 to Zardone. Breaking ball, chopped again off his foot. Not hard, though, as Zardone shows no issue of pain. 2-2. Kettleers at home for 3 straight games. A makeup game tomorrow against Falmouth after the 4th of July rainout. 2-2, a change-up in the dirt. Just behind home plate, Zardone helps Rice retrieve it with his bat. Full count, 3-2.
Wingenter's been on with the fastball, but the breaking ball has been inconsistent. Some breaking balls have been great, others have been awful.
Payoff pitch. Fastball, strike 3 called. Zardone started his swing and to strut towards the first base line, but knew he didn't get the bat around. Strike 3 called. 2 down in the top of the third. So a good start for Trey in this third inning. Consecutive outs. For the first time all night. First pitch swinging by Sanger, foul to the left, out of play. Sanger walked and scored in his first at-bat. 3 runs for Harwich on 3 hits. Kettleers 2 runs on 4 hits. Wingenter gets his sign, 0-1 pitch. Fastball sliced to the left. Glides over a step or 2 to make the catch. A 1-2-3, top of the third for Wingenter. We'll go to the home half of the third at Lowell Park. 3-2 Harwich on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Barnstable Mashpee, Channel 99, and Channel 13 Sandwich.
The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's
last of the third inning, 2, 3, and 4 to come to the bat for the Kettleers. Greg Mraz and Brendan Glasheen on hand with you at Lowell Park. The Kettles try to snap a 3-game losing streak today against a Harwich team they've beat once in a single try, a 3-1 final last Saturday, July 27th, here in Cotuit. Jared Poche returns to the hill, a roper down the left field line, foul by Grant Kay. To begin the at-bat, no balls, 1 strike. Kay singled and scored the first run of the game for Cotuit. Right-handed hitter from Louisville, 0-1. Fastball, tails away. Poche evens the count, 1-1. An LSU team that Poche was part of, 46-16-1. A dominant year for LSU. 1-1. Fastball, too far and in by the belt. 2 balls, 1 strike. Poche had a .61 ERA as a senior in high school. Change up away, no attempt by Rudy Fernbach, the home plate umpire. Thought about calling a strike with a long pause. 3-1. This past season with the Tigers, 9-3, a 2.45 ERA in 91 2/3 innings pitched. 3-1 to Grant Kay. Fastball up the middle into center field, a base hit. Rolls towards the gap. Kay's thinking too. He's in a break hard around first base. Slide into second base with a double. Just as he turned around first base, he had his eyes on second base. Some aggressive base running by Kay. He leads off the bottom of the third with a double. The dimensions at Lowell Park, 367 in dead center, 320 down the right field line. There's a 4th of July banner hanging in right center field. The ball was hit in that direction. Now Fincher drops down a bunt down the third base line. A long run for Zardone. Throw to first, not in time. Fincher occasionally likes to drop down a bunt. He's 2 for 2, and that average just keeps on going up. A 400-plus average for Jake Fincher in his last 10 games. A bunt single down the third base line means first and third with nobody out for Cotuit. The tying run 90 feet away. The score 3-2 Harwich in the last of the third. Still nobody out for John Norwood.
7th straight game in which Jake Fincher has reached base at least twice.
The Vandy Commodore takes the pitch low and outside. It gets away from Wynn. He spins around, finds the baseball to his right, picks it up, and feeds it back to Poche. 1 ball, no strikes. Norwood responsible for the first run for Cotuit. A sacrifice fly to left field. His first game as a Kettleer. Batting cleanup and DHing. A big at-bat in the College World Series in Game 3 against Virginia. The go-ahead home run in the 7th inning in Omaha, Nebraska. A 1-0 count on him. The pitch from Poche. Shot towards second base. Biggio spins now. Throw to first in time. In to score Grant Kay. We're even at 3 with 1 down in the last of the third. Norwood getting the job done once again.
Norwood does not have a hit today, but he has a pair of RBIs, and, you know, this guy is the epitome of clutch. He's the reason why. He is responsible for the last run scored of the entire 2014 college baseball season, a home run, ironically enough, off of Nick Howard of Virginia, who spent all of last season with the Harwich Mariners.
Something else, a 97-mile-per-hour fastball from Nick Howard that he hit. First pitch to Rhett Wiseman, his teammate at Vandy, low and away, a curveball, 1-0. Hit the left field bullpen that broke a 2-2 tie in Omaha. Norwood said he thought it was absolutely gone when he hit it. The only thing he was thinking about was hitting the ball hard, which for any hitter in the middle of the lineup is a great thought. 1-0 pitch. Wiseman half-heartedly does go around, says Fernbach, the home plate umpire. Another breaking ball to Rhett 1 ball, 1 strike. Wiseman grounded to second to end the first inning. A 3-3 score here at Lowell Park in Cotuit. Greg Moraz and Brendan Glasheen here with you on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. John Norwood, a pair of RBIs to help Cotuit out in his first game. Breaking down the third baseline, Fincher after the pitch. Wynn runs him back to the bag. A pitch outside to Wiseman, 2-1. What's funny about that home run was it came in the 7th inning. The following half inning, the Cavaliers for Virginia loaded the bases with 1 out in the 8th. So they threatened that big tie. Wiseman barely chips it. It knocks foul. It's a strike, 2-2. Adam Ravenel hit Kenny Towns to load the bases. And Mike Poppy forced out at home on a chopper to Ravenel at pitcher's mound. Poche to the set, 2-2 pitch to Rhett Wiseman. Doesn't chase the curveball away. Bounces off the mid of the glove of Wynn. Sends it back to Poche. Full count.
And Ravenel closed out the ball game. Was a part of this 2013 Cotuit Kettleer Championship squad along with Brian Miller, submarining reliever who proposed to his girlfriend on the field after they won.
Payoff pitch. Wiseman hits it foul to the left side into the trees. Ravenel as well as Miller, as Greg just said, both 2013 Kettleers. Teammates with Rhett Wiseman. A returning Kettleer from last season, a Mansfield, Mass native. Fincher at third, 1 out. 3-2 pitch. Wiseman hits it over to first base on the ground, picked up by Annunziata. Tags the bag as he stares Fincher back to third base. 2 outs.
That right there is great awareness by Sal Annunziata. Balls are a lot harder to field when the infield is in, but Annunziata showing good mobility, ranging to his right to snag that ball on a hop, stared Jake Fincher back to third, and Wiseman was hustling the whole way, and Annunziata got there, beat him by about 4 steps, but still closer than you would have initially thought.
That championship, to go back to Vanderbilt, was the first in men's sports history. First pitch fastball, low and inside to Logan Taylor. 1 ball, no strikes on the third baseman from Texas A&M. Fincher remains at third, 2 outs. Harwich 3, Cotuit 3, 1-0. Inside again, Wynn out of the crouch. Sends it back up to Poche, 2-0. The school's only other title came in women's bowling in 2007. So the Commodores, with a lot of celebration last week, some Commodores back up on the Cape. 2-0 pitch to Taylor. Swing and miss on a changeup that breaks inside to the right-handed hitter. 2-1.
I didn't even know bowling was a collegiate sport.
I always knew there was club bowling. But women's bowling, the only other title in Commodore history. 2-1 to Taylor. Another changeup swung on and missed. Logan has fell back now on the count, 2-2.
I bet you the movie 300 has a lot different of a definition for those Vanderbilt women's bowlers.
John Norwood, an RBI ground out to score Grant K. Fincher stands at third, 2-2 to Taylor. Struck to the left side, into the hole, a base hit. Fincher trots home, no problem. Lets the cleat touch home plate. A long turn at first for Logan Taylor. The Kettleers retake the lead. It's 4-3.
Jared Poche, for as well as he has pitched the entirety of this season, he has left a lot of balls over the inner half of the plate to right-handed and left-handed hitters. He's not a big guy. Only stands at 6'1". He looks smaller than that from our vantage point, and the Kettleers have just bashed him.
Here's Jackson, first pitch swinging. That changeup strikes again. Drops low and inside to the ankles, but Jackson swings through it. No balls, 1 strike. Jackson singled in the second inning, eventually scored the second run for Cotuit. Poche to the set, Taylor at first, a 4-3 Cotuit lead, 0-1. Taylor's off, a pitch out, throw down to second base, the tag applied, no problem. First base umpire Dave Turco, an easy call. The Kettleers strike for 2 to retake the lead on the Harwich Mariners. We're through 3 at Lowell Park. Katuitt 4, Harwich 3 on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network, Barnstable Mashpee, Channel 99, and Channel 13 Sandwich.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees.
Top of the fourth inning at Lowell Park. Trey Wingenter back on the bump after a 1-2-3 third inning. A 4-3 Kettleers lead on the Eastern Division's best squad, Harwich. First pitch breaking ball, tails away to Matt Wynn, the catcher for tonight's game. 1 ball, no strike on the Virginia Military College student, repping the white and blue socks. Pitch inside, a fastball from Wingenter, 2-0. Most of the Harwich players wear the navy blue socks with the 3 red stripes in the middle. But for Wynn, he wears the white and blue. 2-0. Smacked over towards short. Jackson lets it play back on him. Throws over to first in time. Wingenter has slowly started to show some improvement. He's retired 5 in a row.
Ashton Parrott starting to stretch down in the Kettleer bullpen. It's been a hectic couple of days for Ashton Parrott. Was released, and then when Logan Ratledge had to go home due to an injury after 1 game, was immediately re-added to the roster the next day.
Mike Roberts posts a lineup inside the bullpen, rather in the dugout. First pitch changeup low and away to Sky Bolt. Bolt a sacrifice fly in the second inning to plate a run for Harwich. 1-0 from Wingenter. Fastball right up the middle as Wingenter ducks. The 6'7" righty from Auburn is very tall. That pitch nearly hit him, but it rolls into center, a base hit. Bolt now 1 for 1. But Ashton Parrott, as you said, warming and loosening out in that bullpen. Parrott was removed from the roster, then put back on. Mike Roberts informed him after his release that we want you back here. But Ashton Parrott listed in the lineup as the guy that would come in before the 6th inning, obviously hoping that Wingenter would go the first 6. That's not the case tonight. Based on the pitch count, Wingenter already at 65 pitches. First pitch to Biggio. Breaking ball, cuts left to right over home plate to the left-handed hitter. Son of Craig Biggio, longtime second baseman for the Houston Astros, as we mentioned earlier on in the broadcast. Cavan's in and out of the middle infield as he strokes the bat above his helmet.
It's now time for tonight's trivia question. Cavan Biggio, the son of Craig Biggio, who played mostly second base for the Houston Astros, but when he made his Major League debut, what was Craig Biggio's original position?
0-1 pitch, runners off. Rice's throw down to second, not in time. So bolts towards second. He's in with a stolen base. Harwich threatening the tying run in scoring position. Now, it's funny because that type of question narrows it down to 8. So obviously it's not second base. And now you've given our listeners options. Typically your questions have been out of the blue facts. At least this type of question, you have a chance. 1 out of 8, 1-1. Pitch misses low and in. 2 balls, 1 strike. And not to mention, you can't say DH because that position never existed at the time.
Not with the Houston Astros now because they're in the American League now.
Right. Wingenter comes to the set along Starrett Bolt at second. 2-1 to Biggio. Breaking ball again, chops in the dirt. Rice picks it up and retrieves it. 3 balls, 1 strike.
If you have the answer, email us at KettleersBroadcastBooth@gmail.com or tweet at us at KettleersKettleers. We'll have the answer for you later on in the ballgame.
I'm just applauding you for giving our listeners some sort of options now. You never gave multiple choice. 3-1 pitch. Biggio takes it low and away, ball 4. Wingenter's 4th walk of the afternoon. Biggio trots down the first baseline. First and second, 1 out. Harwich threatening this 4-3 Kituitt lead with 1 down in the 4th.
Kettler pitching, averaging a walk per inning. If that pace continues, they're on pace to walk 9. And with the hit by pitch, they have allowed 5 base runners on balls not put in play.
Each team with 0 errors, 4 hits, 3 runs for Harwich, 7 hits, 4 runs for Kituitt. Wingenter hopes to work out of a first and second jam. First pitch fastball on the outside corner to the left-handed hitting Ian Happ. A returning Harwich Mariner from last season, Happ. Not an official at bat tonight. A pair of walks in the first and second innings. Wingenter to the set at the letters. 1 check towards first, 0-1. Low in the dirt, outside. A ball and a strike to Happ. Kituitt tries to break a 3-game losing streak. Also improved to 2-0 against these Mariners. Second time at Lowell Park. 1-1. Fastball lifted into the backstop. Now cruises over the broadcast booth here at Lowell Park. Foul. And what not a better way to get rid of a losing streak when you have 3 straight here at your home field. Tonight, we have Harwich. Tomorrow, the Falmouth Commodores come in. Bourne Braves on Monday. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Strike 3 called. Wingenter comes back to strike out Happ on the outside corner after consecutive batters allowed to reach base. 2 down in the 4th. Still 4-3.
And Trey Wingenter, for his control problems, has struck out 5 through 3 2/3. So despite a high pitch count, Wingenter has strikeout stuff. That's for certain. His breaking ball, when it's on, it's got a lot of break on it. Very tough to hit.
Matt Gonzalez, the batter. First pitch way off. An up and in pitch from Wingenter. A changeup at 76. Swung on and missed. Gonzalez of Georgia Tech hit .314 this past year for the Yellow Jackets. 23 multi-hit games. Not a hit tonight, though. 0-1. Change up, popped up into right center. Wiseman tracks under it. Now it's Fincher to the left. Comes on in front to make the catch to retire the side. 3.5 done at Lowell Park. Harwich threatens, but no runs in. We'll go to the home half of the 4th at Lowell Park. 4-3 Kituitt on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network, Barnstable Mashpee, Channel 99, and Channel 13 Sandwich. Stick with us.
Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Kituitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Kituitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years.
7, 8, and 9 come to the dish for the Kettleers in the home half of the fourth. A 4-3 lead for Kentuit. A new pitcher in for Jared Poche. It's Zach Irwin of Clemson.
Zach Irwin started against the Kettleers the last time the Mariners were here at Lowell Park. A 1-1 record and a 2.3 ERA. 15 2/3 innings pitched, 14 hits, 4 runs, both of them earned, 6 walks, and 15 strikeouts. He's 6'5", 195 pounds from Clemson.
A 2.30 ERA on the season. Faces 7, 8, and 9. Jackson, Hendricks, and Rice. Jackson at the dish for the third time. Fouls it to the right, foul. Reason being because Logan Taylor was thrown out at second base on a stolen base try, so Jackson gets to bat again. 0-1 the count. The left-hander, the pitch. Fastball too far and inside as Jackson crutches his right shoulder in. 1-1. Irwin gets his sign to the windup. 1-1. Shot over towards short. Gonzalez picks it up. Heaves over to first in time to get Jackson. 1 down in the last of the fourth.
Matt Gonzalez played mostly third last season for the Bourne Braves. Tim Caputo, the shortstop from the University of Rhode Island, was a mainstay for the Braves, but this year Gonzalez is playing more short. Last year at Cape League Scout Day, Matt Gonzalez hit 5 home runs over the Green Monster.
Brendan Hendricks, the batter, awaits the left-handed matchup. Curveball drops in for a strike at the knees to the left-handed hitter of the University of San Francisco. With the addition of John Norwood and Rhett Wiseman, change up away. 1-1 to Hendricks. Brendan Hendricks is going to have some limited playing time, to say the least. Grant Kay can also play at the first base bag. 1-1. Hendricks takes it on the outside corner. 1-2. We also saw Jamison Fisher at first base last night at Spillane Field. First time ever he's played that position. 1-2 the count. In the last of the fourth, 4-3 Kettleers. Hendricks waved on and missed. A mighty swing, but the curveball drops way far outside. Hendricks had no shot. 2 outs in the fourth. A good start for Irwin out of the pen.
I think it's also worth noting that Harwich only has 1 right-handed starting pitcher, and most of their guys are lefties. Most of their bullpen guys are lefties. That keeps guys off balance.
Ian Rice, first pitch hacking, follows it to the right, out of play. Rice is single, followed by a stolen base on the next pitch. Was stranded at second base when Jackson Glines struck out. 0-1 the count. Irwin gets his sign from Wynn. Lefty into the windup, 0-1. Far and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Of the 14 pitchers listed on Harwich's roster, 10 of them are left-handed. And only 1 starter, John Harris, is right-handed.
Irwin works quickly, 1-1. Hit deeply to left field. Looking up. Falls fair. Rice thinking second. Throw into second base. Tagged out. A nice relay throw by Happ in left field as it roped down the left field line. Third base umpire Matt McCann said it rolled fair. But Rice caught at second base for going too aggressive. We're through 4 at Lowell Park. Kentuit 4, Harwich 3. on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network, Barnstable Mashpee, Channel 99, and Channel 13 Sandwich.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years.
Top of the fifth inning, 3-4-5 due up for the Harwich Mariners against Trey Wingenter. Wingenter has not allowed a run in his last 2 innings. He allowed all 3 of the runs he's given up back in the second inning, where Harwich scored 3, sending 9 men to the plate. But none of those 3 runs scored on a base hit. C.J. Hinojosa, the shortstop from Texas, although playing designated hitter tonight, steps to the plate for the Harwich Mariners. Pair of strikeouts in the first and second. 1 looking, that was in the first, 1 swinging in the second. First pitch from Trey Wingenter, swing and a miss. Fastball misses low and in, but Hinojosa swings right over the top of it. 0-1 the count. Wingenter winds, kicks in the 0-1. Slider misses way outside. Count even up at 1. Ashton Parrott is ready in the bullpen down the left field line. So Wingenter's day close to done. 1-1 offering. Swing and fouled behind home plate. Ian Rice grabs it. Count to 1-2 on Hinojosa. For a guy who had gotten off to a hot start, Hinojosa, 5 for 14 in his first 3 games. He struck out twice. He hasn't even come close to getting a ball in play. 1-2 on the way from Wingenter. Fastball misses way high. Hinojosa thought about swinging at it, but checked his swing up very early in the bat rotation. 2-2 on the way from Trey. Slider misses low and away. Rice picks it up, fires back. Count goes to full on Hinojosa. Sal Annunziata, the slugging first baseman from Seton Hall, stands on deck. Payoff on the way from Trey, misses high and in for ball 4. Hinojosa trots down to first. Second leadoff walk. And Mike Roberts signals down to the bullpen to make sure that Ashton Parrott is ready. Annunziata steps to the plate. 5 walks issued by Trey Wingenter. That's an average of 1 per inning at this point. Although no outs have been recorded here in the 5th, so a little over 1 per inning, as the Kettleers have only recorded 4 innings worth of outs. First pitch on the way to Annunziata. Fastball catches the low outside corner. For strike 1, 0-1 the count on Annunziata. 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out. Hendricks holds on Hinojosa at first. Grant Kay shifted over towards the second base bag. Logan Taylor in on the grass at third. 0-1 to Annunziata. Curveball misses low and away. Count even at 1. Annunziata played briefly with the YD Red Sox last season, but has found a home full-time with the Harwich Mariners out at White House Field. 1-1, Annunziata skies it to center. Fincher goes back on it. He's nearing the fence. He settles under it and makes a leaping grab at the wall. Jake Fincher completely misjudged that fly ball. It looked like an easy pop-up, and it just kept carrying. And Fincher thought it was going to come settle down about 3 feet in front of the fence, and it went right up against the fence. And Mike Roberts has seen enough from Trey Wingenter. Ashton Parrott coming into the ball game. Wingenter done after 4 1/3 innings. Runner on first, and we'll be back.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank.
New pitcher on for the Kettleers, Ashton Parrott, making his 4th appearance out of the bullpen. An 0-1 record with a 4.76 ERA, 5 2/3 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts to 2 walks. He's given up 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. Parrott has given up 1 run in each of his 3 appearances. His last time out against the Chatham Anglers, the last time the Kettleers played here at Lowell Park back on Wednesday. Parrott went an inning and 2/3. Gave up a run on 1 hit. It was a solo shot by Chris Shaw of the Chatham Anglers, the right fielder from Boston College. Danny Zardone steps to the plate against Ashton Parrott. Zardone on the ball game, singled and scored in the 2nd, struck out looking in the 3rd. Hendricks holds on, Hinojosa at 1st. Righty-righty matchup, slightly open stance for Zardone, waggles the bat above his head. Parrott steps off, looks Hinojosa back to 1st. Parrott sets in the stretch, looks to 2nd. Pitch on the way, sliced foul over the first base grandstand. 0-1 on Zardone. Wind is blowing slightly out. A beautiful day here at Lowell Park. Night and day from the hurricane-force rains that came down on the 4th of July. Parrott steps off and Hinojosa scoots back to 1st. Kettleers were slated to wear their special 4th of July hats. They are not wearing them. The Harwich Mariners, though, are wearing their special 4th of July hats. 0-1 offering. Pitch out, throw it out of 1st. Back safely Hinojosa. Good idea from Ian Rice. Count even at 1. Big hole in the left side. Drew Jackson shifted towards the second base bag, as is Grant Kay at second base. So big holes through both sides. 1-1, breaking ball, misses low and away. Parrott drops a curve in at 72. Parrott also has one of the funnier Twitter handles of anybody on this team. It is at Caw I'm a Parrot. 2-1, fouled straight back, goes off the mask of Ian Rice. and hits the screen, count even at 2-2. So Ashton Parrott playing a pun with his last name, referring to the bird that notoriously sits on top of pirates' shoulders and repeats, "What you say."
What's that called?
2-2 offering on the way. Chopped foul towards the Anglers, or Mariners dugout. Chatham's not playing here today. I don't know why I said Anglers. It was angled toward the Mariners dugout. There's actually a house on my street back in California that they had a parrot that sits out in the backyard. 2-2 runner going, hit up the middle right to Drew Jackson, steps on the second base bag, throw to first in time. An inning-ending double play, 6-3. Drew Jackson positioned perfectly. We're through 4.5. Ashton Parrott gets the job done, led to the bottom of the 5th. Still 4-3 Kettleers on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network and Comcast Channel 99 from Mashpee to Chatham and Channel 13 Sandwich. Stay with us, friends.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees.
Top of the order, due up for the Kettleers against Zach Irwin. Jackson Glines steps to the plate. Glines 0 for 2. A ground out and a strikeout in the first and second, respectively. Glines steps in, lefty-lefty matchup. Irwin on for his second full inning of work. First pitch on the way. Hit high into shallow left field. Gonzalez goes back on it, makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out. Glines retired for the third time today. Brings up Grant Kay. Kay's had a good day. 2 runs scored, a single in the first, a double in the third. That double led off what was a 2-run bottom of the third inning that gave the Kettleers the lead back at a 4-3 clip. First pitch on the way to the right-handed hitting Grant Kay, fouls it straight back. 0-1. Jake Fincher stands on deck. Jake Fincher, 2 for 2 with a run scored as well. Kay and Fincher both hitting the ball hard. 0-1, pulled the string on him. Beautiful curve from Irwin. Count to 0-2. Sky Bolt shifted slightly towards left center field, so a big size gap out in right center. 0-2, chop fouled on the first base side. Matt Wynn pounces on it and hands it back to home plate umpire Rudy Firmbach. Trey Wingenter done. 4 1/3 innings pitched. 3 runs, all of them earned, 4 hits, 5 walks, and 5 strikeouts. 0-2 to Kay. Fastball in the dirt. Good waist pitch there from Irwin. These two teams will meet out at White House Field in Harwich. It'll be the Kettleers' first trip to White House Field this season. Kay waggles the bat. 1-2 offering on the way. Hit hard down the left field line. Foul into the Kettleer bullpen. The Kettleers have actually only played 4 Eastern Division road games. 2 of them coming in one day against the Chatham Anglers. 1-2 offering on the way. Kay hits it high and deep to left center field. Sky Bolt on his horse. He is at the wall. That one goes up against the base of the wall. Bolt fires it in. Grant Kay with another double. He's 3 for 3. The hot hitting continues for the Louisville second baseman. The Kettleers have a chance to add one on as Jake Fincher steps to the plate. Fincher, slightly open stance, waggles the bat. You could tell by his interview in Hot Off the Kettle that he said that he tries to work on hitting the ball to all fields. First pitch, breaking ball misses inside. Throw down to second base. Scooped up by Kevin Biggio. Throw almost went into center field. Matt Wynn saw Kay leaning a little bit too far off the second base bag and decided that he would fire down to check on the Kettleers second baseman, but no harm, no foul. 1-0 the count on Fincher. Fastball misses low and in. 2-0 on Jake. But Fincher said he works on hitting the ball to all fields when I asked him a question about being an opposite field hitter. Sure enough, in the first inning, he hits a double out in the left center field gap. Pickoff to second, nobody there. Irwin then throws to third. Zardone runs back, and eventually the throw will go to Kevin Biggio at second. Grant Kay tagged out. Not a smart piece of base running by Grant Kay. Kay was off. Irwin looked back to second. Nobody was covering second, but that's the instinct where Kay should have retreated. He kept going, and Zardone was right at third to be able to get the ball. 2-0, chopped on the ground. Biggio picks it up at second, flips to first. Fincher retired, and that'll end the fifth. Kettleers get a one-out double, but they squander it by getting picked off. We're through 5 at Lowell Park. Kettleers cling to a 4-3 lead. You're locked into Kettleer Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's
Top of the 6th inning, back here at Lowell Park. Greg Moraz and Brendan Glasheen here with you on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 6, 7, and 8 come to the plate for Harwich. A 4-3 lead for the Kettleers. Ball club has been half and half when it comes to one-run games, 3 and 5 in those situations. Kentuit clings to a one-run lead right now. Brendan Sanger leads off the top of the 6th for Harwich. Ashton Parrott returns for his first full inning of relief. First pitch, fastball, hammered to left center. Fincher a long run towards the scoreboard, backs up towards the fence, arm out to feel for the fence, makes the catch on the track for a loud out number 1 by, no question, Harwich's most consistent hitter as of late. Sanger's been retired twice, though. Walked and scored in the second. Scored F8. Fincher records the out. Matt Wynn, the batter. Catcher from LSU. Singled in the second and scored. Grounded to short in the 4th inning. Logan Taylor in even with the bag at third base. First pitch fastball from Parrott on the outside corner. No balls, 1 strike. 9 hits, 4 runs, Katuitt. 4 hits, 3 runs for Harwich. A beautiful day at Lowell Park. A full crowd here at the ballpark. Swing and a miss. A high fastball at 93 from Parrott. Win behind 0-2. The Slotnick family grandstand completely filled with fans on the left field side. The right side also filled with some Harwich fans. A good turnout for a team that plays all on Route 6. 0-2 from Parrott. Just gets a piece. Win stays alive. Count stays 0-2. Kettleers in action in 2 more games here at Lowell Park. Tomorrow, a make-up game with the Falmouth Commodores. A game originally scheduled for July 4th. Monday, the Bourne Braves come to town. Count 0-2 on Wynn. Parrott looks in for his sign from Rice. The glove leans on his left thigh. Now comes to the set at the letters, 0-2. In the dirt. Rice blocks it in front. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sky Bolt on deck. Left-handed hitter playing center field tonight. Wynn a slight open stance. And now calls for time. Wants to readjust his pant legs. Parrott checked in for Trey Wingenter, who went the first 4 1/3 tonight for the Kettleers. 1-2 pitch to Wynn. Fastball roped down the left field line. Foul on the ground. Count stays 1-2. Wingenter 4 1/3. Allowed 4 hits, 3 runs, walked 5, and struck out 5. The Kettleers have walked 19 batters in the last 2+ games. 7 against Falmouth on Thursday. 7 against Wareham yesterday. Tonight with 5. The pace tonight, a walk per inning. Parrott now steps off the rubber to reset, wants to readjust the sign call with Rice. A large shadow glimpse over the infield grass. 1-2 pitch from Parrott. Breaking ball. Misses inside. Firmbach a long pause. Pretty good pitch from Parrott. 2-2.
Parrott's breaking ball here today has been very good. He's got sharp break on it, and he's been locating it pretty much in the lower part of the zone.
He's at the set. 2-2 again. Misses low and away. Full count to Matt Wynn. Bolt on deck is 1 for 1. A sacrifice fly in the second inning to plate a run. Singled and stole a base in the 4th. Parrott gets his sign. Payoff pitch. Fastball tails away. Ball 4. A walk per inning for the Kettleers. Make it 6 tonight. Wingenter with 5 in his 4+ innings. A walk from Parrott. A 1-out walk. Harwich has the tying run on base.
Not to mention a hit by pitch that is now 3 straight nights where 7 runners or more have reached without a ball being put in play.
Here's Sky Bolt. Lets the bat hang out in front. Now cocks it behind his helmet. First pitch to him. Bolt pops it up foul. Rice gives it a look but realizes it's out of play. No balls, 1 strike on Bolt. And a fan reels it in the dugout. The fans here at Lowell Park, a nice round of applause. Most of the fans in the Slotnick family grandstand turn their eyes towards the parking lot as well. Typically, there's damage being done, but whenever someone catches it, not only a nice catch, but protects the vehicles. 0-1 outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Bolt. 4-3, Cotuit lead on an RBI ground out by the newest Kettleer, John Norwood of Vanderbilt. Parrott to the set, 1-1. Misses outside. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Last chance, friends, before Kevin Biggio steps to the plate to answer via email or Twitter our trivia question of the night. The question, what was Craig Biggio's original position?
2-1, swung on and missed. Nice change up from Parrott. Low to Bolt. But lightning strikes. 2-2. Check that. Norwood tied the game on an RBI ground out. Logan Taylor, an RBI single to plate Fincher to give the Kettleers the lead. 2-2, misses low and away to the left-handed hitting Bolt. Count runs full once again. 3-2. Craig Biggio's son, Kevin, is on deck. 3-2 pitch. Bolt chops it over towards short. Jackson flips to K for 1. Throw to first in time. That's the second double play converted when Parrott has pitched. We're through 5.5 at Lowell Park. Cotuit 4, Harwich 3 on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Barnstable Mashpee, Channel 99 and Channel 13 Sandwich.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it.
Welcome back here to Lowell Park, and it's time for a Coca-Cola of Cape Cod scoreboard update. Top of the 6th at Stony Brook Field in Brewster, the YD Red Sox beating up on the Brewster Whitecaps 3-1. Brewster struggling once again. They are 8-13 on the season. YD not much better at 9-12. Top of the 3rd at Eldridge Park in Orleans, the Firebirds beating Wareham 2-0, so the Gatemen are struggling, to say the least, against teams that are not Cotuit. They have a doubleheader scheduled this evening. The next game will get started at a time to be determined. Hyannis is up on Chatham at McKeon Park 2-0 in the top of the 2nd. And top of the 2nd at Doran Park, Falmouth beating Bourne 5-2.
First pitch curveball drops in for a strike to John Norwood. No balls, 1 strike. Norwood 0 for 1 today, but a pair of RBIs. Well, one a fastball upstairs. Chest level, but outside, 1-1. A sacrifice fly to plate Cotuit's first run in the first inning. And tied the game at 3 with an RBI ground out to Biggio over at second. 1-1 pitch. The Commodore hacks and misses. A mighty swing. But Norwood behind in the count, 1-2. Speaking of Biggio, we've been teasing our trivia question tonight. Craig Biggio is the father of Kevin Biggio, the second baseman for Harwich. 1-2 to Norwood, strike 3 called. Change up, locks him at the knees. Norwood doesn't take the bat off his shoulder, heads back to the dugout. But what position? Craig Biggio, now a longtime second baseman, arguably a Hall of Famer. That is a discussion that could go anywhere beyond this. But what position did Craig Biggio play to start his Major League career? It wasn't second base. The answer, Greg, let us know. As the first pitch to Wiseman, a breaking ball over the heart of home plate. No balls, one strike.
Craig Biggio started his career as a catcher, then transitioned to second base, and then moved to the outfield in the latter stages of his career.
0-1 to Wiseman, upstairs and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. That was tonight's trivia question. Biggio over at second base tonight for Harwich. Not Craig, he's not back. 1-1 to Rhett. Breaking ball again, pop to left center. A decent run for the center fielder, Bolt. Doesn't have to bolt for it, but skies his way over to make the catch. 2 down.
Just a great name. You can make so many plays on words with a name like Sky Bolt.
It's funny because...
I know his cousin Thunder.
Not Timber?
Timber Bolt?
It's going down, I'm yelling Timber.
Hit me like a thunderbolt.
Oh, Kesha's also great. First pitch to Taylor. Breaking ball inside off the left shin guard of Wynn. 1 ball, no strikes.
But the problem is, there's no such thing as a thunderbolt. Thunder is a noise. Lightning is the light. That's the bolt you see.
It's a fair point. Weather with Greg Mraz next. 1-0 pitch. Taylor follows it off his ankle foul. Walks it off a bit around the on-deck circle.
Another issue in terms of things that are not physically possible in popular culture songs. In Iggy Azalea's Fancy, one of the lines in the chorus is, "I'm in the fast lane from LA to Tokyo." That's not possible because you can't drive a car across the Pacific Ocean.
Well, there could be a boat fast lane. There could be a plane fast lane. She never indicated that you could not do that. 1-1 to Logan. Change up in as he bends his knees out of the way. 2 balls, 1 strike. 4-3, Kettleers lead. It's still a 1-run game here at Lowell Park. 9 hits, 4 runs for Katuitt. 4 hits, 3 runs for Harwich. Irwin gets his sign. 2-1. Slapped to left center. Bolt, a short run. Thunderstruck. Makes the catch to end the half inning. We're through 6 at Lowell Park. 4-3 Kettleers as we head to the 7th of the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Barnstable Mashpee, Channel 99, and Channel 13 Sandwich. No thunder in the skies tonight. Stick with us.
Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College. Located in Milton, Massachusetts, it offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College. Located in Milton, Massachusetts, it offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years.
Kevin Biggio leads off the top of the 7th for Harwich. It needs 1 run to tie this ball game with the Kettleers, a 4-3 Katuitt advantage. Ashton Parrott returns to the hill. First pitch swinging by Biggio. It's popped up on the lip of the grass, backing up Kay. Now he stutters his way over to the left, makes the catch. Ashton Parrott has been solid out of the pen since taking over for Trey Wingenter in the middle of the 5th inning. Has retired 4 of 5 to this point. A walk in the 6th inning, a walk in each inning tonight for Kettleers pitching. But 2 double plays. He's got the ground ball outs. He's done that job. First pitch fastball up and in as Happ bumps out of the way. 1 ball, no strikes.
And Mike Roberts is not messing around. Adam Witt is up in the pen. And Witt pitched less than 3 days ago.
Also pitched against this Harwich squad last Saturday. 1-0 pitch, low and away. So Biggio retired, F4. Happ behind in the count, 2-0. And now Roberts out to talk with Parrott. And now he's going to go with Witt midway through this at-bat. An odd sequence to come out and make a pitching change now. Adam Witt is on to try and close this deal, at least for now. Perhaps goes with Witt, maybe Kinley, who knows. You'll have to see. Adam Witt coming on. We'll take a break. 4-3 Katuitt on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years.
Pitching change midway through this at-bat to Ian Happ, a 2-0 count. Adam Witt called on for the 9th time by Mike Roberts.
Adam Witt 3-0 with a .48 ERA. He allowed his first earned run in his last appearance against the Harwich Mariners. 18 2/3 innings pitched on the season. And in his last time against Harwich, 2 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts.
To do that math out for you, friends, that's 7 outs of strikeouts recorded out of the 8 outs he had. Pitch low to Happ, 3-0. Pitch again, fastball on the outside corner. Witt does not throw very hard. 84 to 86 on the gun with the heater. Change-up curveball in the high to low 70 range. 3-1 pitch to Happ. Fastball goes away, ball 4. A walk in every inning. The trend continues. 7 walks for Kettleers pitching.
7 walks apiece in 3 straight ball games. I mean, that's just a number that you want to know why Kettleer pitching has struggled as much as it has. I mean, Adam Witt is obviously accepted from this because he's got 3 wins. He's pitched just under 19 innings, and his ERA is below .5. But, I mean, the team is just averaging way too many walks.
Gonzalez shows bunt, pulls back, takes the changeup low and away, ball 1. Also remember, this at bat against Happ, he came in with a 2-0 count. Witt likes the long stance on the mound, an open stance. Now comes to the set a bit closer. Now steps off to give Happ a look at first base. A 1-run game at Lowell Park. Katuitt a 4-3 advantage on Harwich. Happ's pitch, grounded over towards short. Jackson goes to Cade for 1. Over to first, double play! The third DP turned by the Kettleers. That's the third double play we've seen in the last 3 innings. We'll go to the home half of the 7th. Stretch time at Lowell Park. The score stands 4-3 Katuitt on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network, Barnstable Mashpee, Channel 99, and Channel 13 Sandwich.
Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees.
Hey, who do we want to have on
is
after
brought
the
to you in
game?
part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast.
Kettleers pitching, able to get 3 double plays in 3 consecutive innings to get out of another jam as we go to the home half of the 7th. 7, 8, and 9, Jackson, Hendricks, and Rice expected to bat against Irwin. First pitch changeup on the outside corner to Jackson. No balls, 1 strike. A 4-3 Katuitt lead. Greg Baraz and Brendan Glasheen on hand with you here at Lowell Park on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 0-1 pitch. Jackson pops it up in shallow center. Biggio out to run for it. Now in comes the center fielder, Bolt. It falls into second base. And up to second goes Jackson. No one was covering the bag at second. Right fielder Sanger, Bolt the center fielder, Gonzalez the shortstop, and Biggio the second baseman. 4 players all in on it, no one covering the bag.
Not only nobody covering the bag, nobody made a decision as to who was going to get that ball.
No one called it. Everyone looked at each other. Brian Bamanek, the first base coach for Katuitt, retrieves the leg protection from Jackson. So he's at second with a cheap double. Certainly he'll take it. Hendricks the batter now with nobody out in the seventh. A lefty-lefty matchup. Hendricks squares around, pulls back, throw down to second base. Not in time to sneakily get Jackson. Wynn throws a bullet down to second base as Jackson got a big secondary lead off the back.
You can't run yourself out of innings. The Kettleers had a chance to add an insurance run in the fifth, and Grant Kay got picked right off of second base.
1-0 pitch on the way to Hendricks. Here it is. Fastball paints the outside corner. The count 1-1. This game is really reminding me of Thursday night in Falmouth. The Kettleers had opportunities to break open the game against the Commodores and let that one-run lead stick with them all the way through. Falmouth tied the game in the ninth inning. It's a 4-3 game here tonight at Lowell Park. 1-1. Hendricks takes it outside, was going to bunt, but pulls back 1-2.
And Brendan Hendricks today 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, and it has not been his best day, to say the least. He just has not been on it.
A 7-game road hitting streak. Of course, tonight he's at Lowell Park in the lineup at first base, batting 8th. Has been one of the hotter hitters, but cold today. 1-2 pitch, and now Irwin steps off towards second. On the pitching end for Cotuit, we've mentioned the number of times they've walked batters. A walk in each half inning tonight. But it turns out the defense and the pitching have come together to get out of those innings. Offensively, they might be running themselves in a hole. The 1-2 popped up over towards the third baseline. It falls foul.
Not a walk in every half inning, averaging a walk every half inning. In the second inning, in which Harwich scored all 3 of their runs, they issued 2 walks and a hit by pitch. The only inning they haven't walked anybody is the third, in which Wingenter went 1-2-3. But the concept is the same.
Right. Walking a batter almost in every half inning sets up for disaster. The pitching and defense have done the job, though, to get out of those jams. And now Hendricks retired. I think it's because he bunted with 2 strikes. So he's retired. I apologize, because I thought that was the second strike of the at-bat. So Hendricks is out by trying to bunt with 2 strikes. Brings up Ian Rice. Change up, evens the count, 1-1.
And how about Ian Rice today? Pair of singles, an RBI. He's hitting the ball hard.
An open stance. The catcher from Chipola Community College plans to transfer to Houston next year. An open stance, holds the bat close to his right shoulder out in front. Now cocks it up behind his back. Now calls time. 10 hits for Cotuit on 4 runs. Harwich 4 hits, 3 runs. The Kettleers have already beat the Mariners this season 3-1 here at Lowell Park last Saturday. The 1-1. Runners off. Throw down to third by Wynn. Not in time to catch Jackson. A great jump for Drew Jackson. He steals third with 1 out, and now a fly ball to the outfield by Ian Rice could give the Kettleers an insurance run. And now Steve Englert is pushing his infielders in. Outfield remains straight away. Kevin Biggio at the lip of the grass at second base. Annunziata even with the bag, still in the dirt. The only infielder for Harwich not on the grass quite yet. Matt Gonzalez, the shortstop.
Drew Jackson got a great jump on that one. And I think when you steal third, you have to time your jump perfectly, and he did just that.
2-1 to Ian Rice. Could come through with a big RBI here. Irwin to the set at the belt. 2-1. Rice squares, pulls back, and now Wynn rushes Jackson back to third base. Fernbach calls that pitch a strike. Says it hit the outside corner, so it's 2-2 to Rice. He's got to swing away now. Lets the bat loft at his fingertips. Now waggles it out in front. Irwin with the glove on his right thigh. Comes to the set at the belt. 2-2 pitch. Rice, number, center field. Falls for a base hit. It drops behind him. Jackson scores. Rice up to second. He's at it again. 3 for 3 and a clutch RBI single to give Katuitt insurance run. It's 5-3.
Ian Rice, a temporary player, didn't know how long he was going to be on this squad, and over the past couple of weeks, he's just been catching fire. He's been hitting the ball hard. He's been catching good games. And now the Kettleers have themselves a luxury. Two guys in him and Trace Barrera who can catch any night and be able to execute the game plan.
Rice has caught fire at the right time. Considering Barrera just got here, it makes the decision-making for Mike Roberts even more difficult. Who do I play tonight? Because Barrera's debut, he struck out 3 times in 4 at-bats. Here's Glines, the leadoff man, takes a curveball at the knees, outside corner, the left-handed hitter from Michigan. Down to the count, no balls, 1 strike. Rice hits second with 1 out. Jackson scores on a bloop base hit by Ian Rice. It's now 5-3 Kettleers with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Glines holds the bat out in front, the pitch. He pops it up, straightaway center, a couple of steps to the left for Skybolt, ranges under, makes the catch. 2 down, Glines retire for the 4th time tonight. He's 0 for 4. But going back to Ian Rice, considering his struggles also behind the plate, he and with Casey Schroeder, they are mostly responsible for the number of wild pitches and pass balls that have been recorded in these ball games. So again, wild pitches go against the pitcher. However, with a more experienced catching crew, you'd think some of the balls that were ruled wild pitches would have been caught. And that was the big struggle with Ian Rice. Always had some pop in the bat, a big home run against Bourne a few days back as Kay takes the fastball outside, 1-0. But to see it come full circle now, when knowing Trace Barrera is on his way to the Cape League, and not only that, but the cut deadline is July 3rd, so rosters have to be finalized at 28. Ian Rice makes the team as the backup catcher. 1-0 pitch, Kay, a big heave and a miss. And I shouldn't even say backup catcher because most likely Mike Roberts is going to alternate between the two if Rice continues his dominance at the plate as well as his solidity behind the plate as a hitter, as a catcher. 1-1 to Grant Kay. He's 3 for 3 as well, a pair of doubles. The Louisville hitter awaits the pitch. It's called a strike. Change up over the heart of the plate, but cuts on in. 1-2.
From all indications, Jamison Fisher, who is listed as a catcher and a first baseman, won't play much catcher. So it's going to be Rice and Barrera every day.
And remember, Rice in Falmouth on Thursday got hit in the throat in the 9th inning, but stayed and was okay. 1-2. Not on the way as Irwin steps off. Irwin has worked nicely in relief, slowly but surely. 3 1/3, a 4-hit ball has allowed just 1 run. 1-2 pitch. Kay shoots the gap in left center. Bolt over, though, a couple of steps as he shifted properly to make the catch to retire the side. The Kettleers, though, get a much-needed insurance run as we head to the 8th. 5-3 Katuitt. Greg Barraz to take you home on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network, Barnstable Mashpee, Channel 99, and Channel 13 Sandwich.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College. Located in Milton, Massachusetts, it offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College. Located in Milton, Massachusetts, it offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. The Kettleers and Katuitt Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it.
Heart of the order due up against Adam Witt here in the top of the 8th inning. Kettleers lead this one 5-3. First pitch on the way from Adam Witt to Hinojosa. Fastball misses low for ball 1. Hinojosa on the ball game, 0 for 2, a pair of strikeouts. He walked back in the 5th, but was forced out on a 6-3 double play hit into by Danny Zardone to end the inning. 1-0, curveball misses way outside. Count to 2-0 on Hinojosa. DH from Texas wears number 3. Even stance at the plate, slices it down the right field line, a base hit. That one drifting towards the pole. Hinojosa rounds first, was thinking 2, but tripped up as he rounded first. Looked like he hurt his right ankle and decides to retreat to first. Hinojosa is okay. Just looked like he stumbled for a minute. A leadoff single for the Harwich Mariners. Brings up Sal Annunziata. Annunziata is due. 0 for 3, a strikeout, a ground out, and a flyout. Annunziata takes a first pitch changeup on the inside half for strike 1. Annunziata from Seton Hall, located in New Jersey. Adam Witt throws to first. Brendan Hendricks holding on. C.J. Hinojosa. Annunziata sports number 37 for the Harwich Mariners. Infield double play depth. 0-1, fouled straight back. Adam Witt ahead in the count, 0-2. Jeff Kinley, the Kettleers closer, has begun to loosen in the bullpen down the left field line. Kay shifted over towards second. Two-step lead at first. 0-2. Annunziata hits it in the hole on the left side, a base hit. First two have reached for Harwich here in the 8th. Back-to-back singles by Hinojosa and Sal Annunziata. That will bring up Danny Zardone. The go-ahead run steps to the plate in the form of Zardone. And Adam Witt facing some adversity. Corners come in. Hendricks shifted well to the right of the first base line, in on the grass. Zardone shows bunt. He lays it down right in front of Adam Witt. Witt picks it up, fires to first. Hendricks covering. Sacrifice works perfectly, 1-3. Hinojosa moves to third. Annunziata moves to second. Tying run in scoring position for Brandon Sanger. Sanger on the ball game, 0 for 2. Did score a run in the second inning as he walked. Harwich right fielder from Florida Atlantic. Hinojosa at third. Annunziata at second. Witt in the stretch. First pitch on the way. Sanger loops it out into left center field. Charging Fincher. He's not going to get it. Hinojosa comes in to score. And being held at third, Sal Annunziata. Harwich has cut this deficit to 1. It's 5-4 Kentuit. Annunziata had to hold up because Jake Fincher was charging so hard. There was no indication as to whether he was going to catch the ball or not. Matt Wynn steps to the plate. Go-ahead run at first. The right-handed hitting Wynn getting signs from his third base coach, Steve Englert. And Kinley warming quickly. Sky Bolt on deck. He's a switch hitter, but would bat left against Adam Witt. Righty-righty matchup. First pitch. Fastball misses high and away. 1-0 the count on Matt Wynn. Wynn, the catcher from Virginia Military Institute. Signal had scored in the second, walked in the sixth, also grounded out. That was back in the fourth. Witt sets. 1-0. Chop to third. Taylor flips to second for one. On to first. Not in time. A bang-bang play. A fielder's choice forces out Sanger at second. Wynn reaches. The Mariners keep the inning alive. And Mike Roberts is out to chat with Dave Turco, the first base umpire. That was a close play on the relay from Grant Kay. I think that the correct call was made. It was a tie. Tie goes to the runner. But smart base running by Annunziata to stay at third because the ball was hit softly to Logan Taylor at third. If Annunziata had backed off at all, Logan Taylor could have tagged him out, and that would have been a devastating out, and it would have been tagged in time to where Taylor could have thrown across the diamond to double up Matt Wynn. And Mike Roberts having some words with Rudy Firmbach at home base now. Home plate, excuse me. Coach giving signs, and he heads back to the dugout. Sky Bolt steps to the plate. Bolt hit a sac fly in the second, singled and stole second in the fourth, and grounded into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play back in the sixth. Sal Annunziata, the tying run, stands at third base. The shadows have creeped in over the left side of the field. Left-handed hitting Bolt, center fielder from North Carolina. First pitch, fastball, right down the heart. Taken for strike one. Bolt plays for head coach Mike Fox at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Fox's predecessor was Kettleers head coach Mike Roberts. 0-1. Fastball almost gets away from Ian Rice. He does a nice job to scoot towards the right-handed batter's box and get the baseball. Count even at 1. Kettleers trying to snap a 3-game losing streak that dates back to Wednesday against the Chatham Anglers. 1-1. Curveball at the knees. Called strike 2. Annunziata on third. Win on first. 5-4 Kettleers here at the top of the 8th. Bolt steps back in. Slightly open stance. Left-handed hitter. Witt sets in the stretch. 1-2 on the way. Curveball. Misses low and away. Count even up at 2-2. More than likely, the biggest out of the game for any Kettleer pitcher. Witt sets. 2-2. Bolt skies it out of play down the left field line. Taylor gives chase, but it falls in the grandstands down the third base side. And we'll do the 2-2 again.
Adam Witt has done a phenomenal job all season in the 8 appearances we've already seen him pitch to get out of big situations. He's allowed his second earned run of the entire year in this half inning. And this is probably the most challenged he's been. The tying run is 90 feet away, and he's got a big pitch coming up.
2-2 on the way again from Witt. Bolt pops it up in the infield. Jackson charges. He drops the ball. Drew Jackson drops the ball. Annunziata scores, and this game is tied. Drew Jackson dropped a routine fly ball. Unbelievable. Harwich has tied it up. Game now knotted at 5.
Wow. A routine pop-up he was directly under. You could see the ball sit on his glove, and it fell out. He's been sound defensively at shortstop all season. A costly mistake.
Brings up Kevin Biggio. First pitch to Biggio. Breaking ball. Taken on the low outside corner for a called strike one. Biggio on the ball game. Singled in the second. Walked in the fourth. And popped out to Grant Kay to lead off the seventh. 0-1. Curveball. Hits the high outside corner. 0-2 the count on Biggio. Go-ahead run. Stands at second base in the form of Matt Wynn. Wynn at second. Bolt at first. Game tied at 5. 0-2. Breaking ball misses low and away. Count now 1-2. To recap the inning, Hinojosa led off with a single. Annunziata went back-to-back. He also had a single. Danny Zardone laid down a bunt. That moved both runners up to second and third. 1-2. High and deep down the right field line. Ball will go foul. Hendricks and Wiseman chase for it. Count remains at 1-2. And then Brendan Sanger singled. That drove in C.J. Hinojosa, but it was such a looping single. Fincher had a chance on it. Annunziata couldn't score from second. Wynn grounds into the fielder's choice. 1-2, hit right to the shortstop, Drew Jackson. He picks it up, flips to second in time to force out Sky Bolt. But the Mariners tie the ball game on a dropped pop-up by Drew Jackson. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th inning. All knotted at 5. Keep it locked right here.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank.
Welcome back to Lowell Park alongside my broadcast partner, Brendan Glasheen. I'm Greg Mraz. To recap this game for you, Kettleers started the scoring with a run in the bottom of the first. Mariners got 3 back in the second. The Kettleers then scored 1 in the second, 2 in the third. That made it 4-3. Scored 1 more in the 7th to make it 5-3. And then the last half inning, 3 hits for the Mariners. An RBI single by Brendan Sanger, and then a dropped pop-up on a Sky Bolt looper by Drew Jackson that had Jackson caught it, it would have ended the inning. Zach Irwin still out there. Jake Fincher steps to the plate. First pitch, breaking ball at the knees. Called strike 1. So 2 runs charged to Adam Witt, only 1 of them earned. Jeff Kinley is sat down in the bullpen. 0-1. Curveball misses low and in. Count even up at 1 on Jake Fincher. Fincher, 2 for 3. A double, a single, a run scored, and a ground out. Righty-lefty matchup. Irwin winds, kicks, and delivers the 1-1. Fincher pops it up just off the edge of the outfield grass. Biggio settles under it, makes the catch for the first out of the 8th.
Talk about unfortunate circumstances. That drop pop-up by Drew Jackson may come back and bite this team. And you said it off the air. I don't mean to disappoint Kettleer fans listening, but it's almost like it's meant for them to fall in these situations.
First pitch to John Norwood. Breaking ball that misses low, 1-0. Norwood 0 for 2, but he does have 2 RBIs. A sacked fly in the first and an RBI ground out in the third. He struck out looking to lead off the sixth. 1-0 from Irwin. Breaking ball misses low and in. Count to 2-0. But you made mention of it in the seventh inning that the Kettleers have not done more with their scoring opportunities. 2-0 on the way. Swing and a miss. Norwood went way upstairs on Irwin's high fastball. 2-1 the count as the wind starts to gust here at Lowell Park. The sun has gone away. Shadows covering the majority of the field. Irwin stares in, delivers the 2-1 to Norwood. Norwood laces it to left field, a base hit. A one-out single for John Norwood, his first hit with the Kettleers. He represents the go-ahead run. Rhett Wiseman steps to the plate.
And this duo from Vanderbilt, these guys are no strangers of go-ahead runs. Of course, Norwood, as we talked about earlier in the broadcast, a clutch 2-run homer to allow Vanderbilt to take a big lead against Virginia in Game 3 of the College World Series. Wiseman, his teammate, at Vandy.
First pitch on the way to Rhett Wiseman. Hit up the middle, right to Biggio. Flips to second for 1. On to first. Not in time. Wiseman hustles and beats out the relay from Matt Gonzalez. Norwood forced out at second. 2 outs for Logan Taylor.
Hey, at least he put the ball in play. Up the middle, a nice play defensively at second by Biggio. And now with Logan Taylor up, another guy who's had clutch at bats with 2 outs. 10 2-out RBIs with runners in scoring position. Wiseman's at first, but Taylor knows how to hit in these big situations.
Righty-lefty matchup. First pitch from Zach Irwin. A breaking ball that misses outside to Logan Taylor. Taylor, 1 for 3, a single and an RBI. That came back in the third. Taylor waggles the bat, the third baseman from Texas A&M. Irwin, the left-handed pitcher from Clemson. Breaking ball, pulled the string on him. On the inside corner at the knees. Count even up at 1-1. Zach Irwin has been fantastic in relief. Runner going, hit and run. Taylor skies it out of play to the right side. Count to 1-2.
Yeah, despite that run given up in the seventh. 4 2/3 of relief, 5 hits allowed, 1 run. He's done everything on his part to give Harwich a chance, and that's exactly what they did in the top of the 8th. Took advantage of Irwin's perseverance in fight and eventually got 2 to cross to tie the game.
1-2. Taylor hits it on a line, nabbed by a leaping Kevin Biggio. What a play. Kevin Biggio looking like his father Craig. 3 solid defensive plays. Makes part of all of the outs in the 8th. We're through 8 at Lowell Park. All tied up at 5 apiece. We'll head to the top of the 9th after this.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Chatham Bar is
Top 9. Top of the order due up for the Mariners against the new pitcher, Kettleer closer, the left-hander from Michigan State, number 32, Jeff Kinley.
Jeff Kinley on for his 9th time as well, just like Adam Witt. An ERA of 1.46 in 12 1/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 8 hits, 2 runs. Both of them earned. He's walked 3 and struck out 5 in the 12 1/3 innings pitched. He has 2 saves on the year. Kinley, again, a left-handed hurler from Michigan State, saved 13 games to lead the Big Ten Conference this past season. Opponents hitting just 182 against Kinley.
Kinley surrendered the game-tying 2-out hit by Kevin Newman in Falmouth on July 3rd, the last game that the Kettleers played, in which they had a close one. First pitch swinging in hap, high to left center field, glides under it, makes the catch. Ball looked like it was hit a lot harder off the crack of the bat than it initially was. Happ retired on one pitch. Brings up Matt Gonzalez. Gonzalez, in his last at-bat, grounded into a 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. Kinley winds, kicks, delivers, breaking ball, misses low and in. Count to 1-0. The last game that we played at Lowell Park was darked out after 8.5 innings. 1-0 offering on the way. Breaking ball at the knees. Called strike 1, count even at 1 on the Mariners shortstop from Georgia Tech. But this is a situation where this has been a fast game. 1-1, fouled straight back. Fastball from Kinley at 88. Count to 1-2. 7:26 local Eastern Standard Time. Game started at 5, so enough sunlight to play for about another hour. 1-2, curveball in the dirt. Count even at 2-2. For those of you who are not aware, the Cape League has set a max of 14 innings for any game to go. 2-2 offering on the way. Curveball in the dirt again. Count goes to full on Gonzalez. That's not an issue here, though. There will never be enough light in any 5 o'clock game for the Kettleers to be able to play 14 innings. Payoff on the way. Gonzalez hits it in the hole on the left side. A base hit. A 1-out single by Matt Gonzalez. He's reached base twice today. Once via hit by pitch in which he drove in the Mariners' 3rd run of the ball game. Brings up C.J. Hinojosa. Hinojosa, the one who started the rally that plated the Mariners 2 runs back in the top of the 8th. Kinley in the stretch. Hendricks not holding the runner on. First pitch fastball misses low and in for ball 1. Hinojosa has reached twice, once on a single back in the 8th, once via the walk in the 5th. He's also struck out twice. 1-0, Hinojosa hits that hard in the gap, glides on it. He settles in front of it, plays it on a hop. Glines cut it off quickly. Looked like it would be a gapper, but came in front and made a nice play to keep the ball in front of him. Runners at first and second with only 1 out for Sal Nunziata. And, man, the way that Nunziata swings the bat, the way he's hit the ball against a left-handed pitcher, Kinley's got to be careful. Nunziata waggles the bat. Right-handed hitter. Go-ahead run at second in the form of Matt Gonzalez. First pitch. Breaking ball misses low and in for ball 1. Some action stirring in the Kettleer bullpen down the left field line.
Annunziata hits .231, 6 for 26 against lefties.
1-0, nubbed back to the screen. Count to 1-1. Brendan, the stats man, He's been on that all year, friends. Coming up with the clutch stats in clutch situations.
He has struck out 7 times in those 26 at-bats. Does have a home run, a solo shot.
1-1 offering. Annunziata laces it down the left field line. Just foul. That ball stays fair. And this is a different ball game. 1-2 the count. On Sale. Waggles the bat. Kinley stares in, gets the sign. Kettleers have the infield back. Kinley sets, looks back at second. 1-2 to Annunziata, fouls it out of play over the screen. Behind home plate over the Arnold Mycock press box building. Count remains 1-2. Kettleers back in action tomorrow against the Falmouth Commodores, a makeup from Friday's rainout. Kettleers warm-up hits the air at 4:40. Game time set for 5 o'clock. 1-2. Fastball misses low and in. Count even at 2-2. There was stirring, but nobody's loosening. This is Jeff Kinley's game. Gonzalez at second, Hinojosa at first, back-to-back singles with 1 out. 2-2 count. Kettleers have 12 hits. Mariners have 9. Each team has committed an error. Each team has 5 runs. 3 of the Mariners, check that, 4 of the Mariners' 5 runs have come without a base hit. 2-2, chopped foul. The 3 runs that came in the second came on a sac fly, a wild pitch, and a hit by pitch. Brendan Sanger's RBI single, the only one back in the 8th that was a cause of a run. The 5th run was on Drew Jackson's dropped pop-up. 2-2 upcoming again. Delivery on the way. Hit to short. Jackson flips to second for 1. On to first. Double play. And Annunziata is irate at himself as he slams his helmet to the ground. The 4th inning-ending double play. And the game remains tied at 5. Kettleers have a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th. All knotted at 5. Keep it locked right here on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Barnstable to Chatham on Channel 99, Comcast, and 13 in Sandwich.
The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank.
Zach Irwin has gone 5 2/3 innings pitched. He's allowed only 1 run. Check that, he's gone 5 innings pitched. But he's allowed only 1 run. And Drew Jackson steps to the plate. And he has a chance to make up for a mistake that he made that caused the Kettleers to give up the lead. Jackson, on the ball game, has been pretty good. 2 for 3, a single, a double, 2 runs scored, and 2 stolen bases. First pitch on the way from Irwin. Jackson hits it high down the left field line, but hooking foul. Had home run distance. Happ gives a run at it, has some chats with the Kettleers bullpen. A huge inning-ending double play grounded into by Sal Annunziata, in which the Harwich Mariners had a chance to take the lead. The first time with the lead since the second inning. 0-1. Curve in the dirt. Count even at 1. Action loosening fast in the Harwich Mariner bullpen. Out in right field. Irwin stares in over the glove. 1-1 to Jackson. Curveball high and away. Count to 2-1. Irwin has not thrown a lot of fastballs. He has been mostly change-up breaking ball in the latter stages of this relief appearance. Line kick in the 2-1. Fastball right down Broadway. Proved me wrong. Maybe he heard me. Count even up at 2-2. Jamison Fisher has stepped into the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Brendan Hendricks. 2-2 offering on the way from Irwin. Jackson hits it hard to third. Zardone gobbles it up. Fires across. Annunziata squeezes it. Score that 5-3 for the first out of the ninth. Jamison Fisher strides to the plate. Fisher got the start last night at first base. Fisher, the DH catcher, first baseman from Southeast Louisiana. 18 for 58 on the season. No home runs, he's driven in 3. Hitting at .310 and 58 at-bats. Sports number 7. Lefty-lefty matchup. First pitch on the way from Irwin. It hits Fisher. Curveball that plunks him in the back. The winning run trots down to first in the form of Jamison Fisher. And Ian Rice is stepping to the plate now. And Ian Rice has hit the ball hard 3 times, all against left-handed pitching. The way that he bats with his slightly open stance, Steve Englert is sitting on the top of the dugout, but he has not made a signal. There is a righty loosening in the bullpen. Time called, and Coach Roberts is going to make a pinch running move. Colin Shaw will pinch run here for Jamison Fisher. So should this game go to extras, Shaw will move to the outfield. He'll probably play left. Glines will shift to center, and Jake Fincher will move to first.
Not too sure about Shaw's speed that he had over in Texas. I know an outfielder that we've rarely seen on base. 6 of his 9 at-bats he has struck out.
First pitch to Ian Rice. Pulled the string on him. Curveball in the inside corner. Called strike 1.
Interesting that Coach Roberts doesn't go with Jeremy Taylor off the bench, a guy that I would say, based on what we've seen, has more speed than Shaw.
0-1. Rice hits it out to right field. 4 for 4. Ian Rice. Sanger fires it back in. Throw to first. Not in time. Rice almost caught napping.
That was a close call there. Would have been a big out, too, because that would make it 2. And now the Kettleers can win on a pop-up to the outfield. Jackson Glines 0 for 4 today. But more importantly, this is the same scenario Katuitt was in on Thursday against Falmouth. Except they were on defensively. You aren't going to keep the infield in as Englert now comes out to the mound. You're not going to keep the infield in, or rather, you're not going to keep the infield in double play depth because you can't risk that play at home.
Englert has not made a move thus yet. The whole infield is gathered in. Jackson Glines is a left-handed hitter with 1 out and runners on first and second. Englert might be telling him with a right-hander loosening in the bullpen that this is your last hitter because he's a left-handed hitter. I'm constantly distracted by that have a hit call. It's just blaring in our ears. But
blaring, Greg?
Blaring is like, well, it's loud. It's loudish. But the potential with Grant Kay, the right-hander on deck, to make a move to a right-handed pitcher. Irwin has gone 5 1/3 innings thus far. He's been very good.
And I apologize. Shaw held up at second. I thought he went down to third.
First pitch to Jackson Glines. Curveball. Catches the outer paint. For strike one. Glines has had a rough day. 2 flyouts, a ground out, and a strikeout. He's 0 for 4. Glines has settled into his role as the Kettleers' new leadoff man. Irwin sets. Breaking ball in the dirt. Count even at 1. The reason I think that he went with Shaw instead of Jeremy Taylor is, should this game go to the 10th, Colin Shaw, much better defensively out in left field than Jeremy Taylor. Speed is about even. Both of these guys are 2 speedy outfielders. 1-1 offering. Fastball. Catches the outer paint. 1-2 on Glines.
And despite Glines' 0 for 4 day, I would still trust him at the plate right here. A veteran at Michigan that has probably batted in this situation multiple times. And Coach Roberts trusts him even though it's a lefty-lefty matchup.
Irwin stares in. Shaw at second, Rice at first. 1-2. Looped out of play into the parking lot. Count remains 1-2. The entire baseball field covered in shadows. This game has reached the 2-hour and 40-minute mark. Winning run stands at second in the form of Colin Shaw. And might be fitting that Shaw would score the winning run considering he saved the game the last time that these two teams faced with a catch on a gapper by Kyle Barrett. 1-2, ring him up. Strike 3 called. Glines was sitting fastball, and he got a looping curve. He walks back to the dugout. 2 outs for Grant K. Steve Englert is sitting atop the dugout, and he's making the move. Playing the percentages. Getting a right-hander in to face Grant K. This call to the bullpen brought to you by the Fuller Family Foundation. We'll have the new pitcher for you when we come back. Winning run stands at second base. 2 outs here in the bottom of the ninth.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank.
New pitcher on for the Harwich Mariners. It's the right-hander from Florida Atlantic, number 4, Seth McGarry. As McGarry completes his warm-up tosses.
McGarry, a right-hander from Florida Atlantic. making his 6th appearance with the Mariners, an 0-1 record. 5 2/3 innings pitched on the 8 innings pitched on the season. Has allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned. He's walked 1 and struck out 8. An ERA of 2.25.
McGarry called on to face, more than likely, the next 3 hitters, Kay, Fincher, and Norwood, all right-handers. And probably Rhett Wiseman, who's a left-hander, should it get to that point. Shaw at second, Rice at first. 5-5 game, 2 outs here in the 9th. McGarry in the stretch. First pitch on the way to Kay, tailing fastball that catches the low outside corner for strike 1. Kay's had a good day. 3 for 4, pair of doubles, a single, 2 runs scored. McGarry sets at the belt, looks back at second at Colin Shaw. 0-1. Kay loops it near the Anglers, or the Mariners dugout. I keep saying Anglers. I keep thinking Steve Englert sounds like Anglers.
I'm sure Steve Englert is touched that you keep thinking about him up here.
Steve Englert, part of the 2013 Harwich Mariner movement to all grow mustaches. Remember seeing Steve Englert, who was the manager of the Eastern Division team at the All-Star game, sitting in the press conference room with just a filthy-looking stash. 0-2 on the way. Fastball misses low and away. Count to 1-2. Outfield playing no doubles. McGarry sets. Infield is back. Looks back at second. 1-2. Kay hits out into left field. Hits on a line. A base hit. Being waved around. Shaw, the throw to the plate. In time. Dead on arrival. What a play by Ian Happ. Bam. We'll go to the 10th. Knotted at 5.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary, a Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. The Kettleers and Kentuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank.
Top of the 10th inning here at Lowell Park. Kettleers had an opportunity to win the ball game. Grant Kay singled to left. Ian Happ picked up the ball quickly. Colin Shaw rounded third and was dead at the plate. Matt Wynn caught the ball about 10 feet up the baseline and tagged out Colin Shaw while standing. What's worth noting is that head coach Mike Roberts, coaching at third, did not waive Colin Shaw. Colin Shaw went on his own. Couple of defensive changes. Shaw stays in the game in left field. Jackson Glines moves to center. And Jake Fincher comes to first, so Brendan Hedrick's out of the ball game.
What I will say, though, in protection of Shaw, Roberts did not hold him up either. He presented zero signal on the third baseline, pretty much an in-between call, and he let Shaw go. He didn't waive him.
First pitch swinging, Danny Zardone fouls it out of play behind the screen. 0-1 the count on the Harwich third baseman.
From what I saw, Shaw rounded third base and just kept going. And Mike Roberts, I think, saw the look on his face that he wasn't going to slow down nor stop.
0-1, hit on the ground to Drew Jackson at short, picks it up, fires across in time to get Zardone. Approaching the 8 o'clock hour here at Lowell Park, there's about possibly 30 more minutes of light. So it could be a game that gets darked out should it stay at this 5-5 tie. Brendan Sanger steps to the plate. Sanger, an RBI single in his last at-bat back in the 8th. Pitch on the way from Kinley. This is high and in for ball 1. No action in the Kettleer bullpen. Down the left field line, there is stirring action in the Harwich bullpen. Wine kick and the 1-0 on the way. Fastball misses outside. 2-0 the count on Sanger. What a performance by Zach Irwin. 5 2/3 innings of 1-run ball. Spectacular. About as good of a relief appearance as you can ever have. 2-0. Curveball right at the heart. Called strike 1. 2-1 the count on Brendan Sanger. On deck, Matt Wynn. Line kick in the 2-1. Breaking ball at the knees. Called strike 2. 2-2 the count. Jackson and Kay deep at short and second. Taylor even with the bag at third. Fincher back at first. 2-2, check swing, he goes around. Strike 3. 2 gone for Matt Wynn. Wynn steps to the plate. Singled and scored in the second. Grounded out. His first pitch is a changeup that misses low and in for ball 1. Grounded out 4-3 in the 4th. Walked in the 6th. And grounded into what was a critical fielder's choice. Head coach Mike Roberts thought that Wynn may have been out on the ground ball he hit at Logan Taylor. Skies it to right. Wiseman going back. Wiseman nearing the fence. He's at the wall. He can't make the play. Wiseman crashes into the fence. Wynn chugs into second with a double. Holy Moses. That ball almost got out of here.
Wiseman all the way to the fence. The ball just kept carrying and carrying, a play in which Wiseman almost thought he had to leap to make the catch. Instead, the ball goes off the top of the fence just over his outstretched glove. And he bangs his left shoulder into the fence. That's why, as a defender, you always have to put your hand out to feel for the fence so you don't hurt yourself.
Steve Englert rolling the dice here. Kyle Barrett, the speedy outfielder from Kentucky, comes in to pinch run for Matt Wynn, so more than likely Anthony Hermelin, the other catcher from Oklahoma, will catch pitches from Seth McGarry. And Sky Bolt is going to be intentionally walked. Mike Roberts now playing the percentages. Sky Bolt a switch hitter. The force will be put on for Kevin Biggio, the lefty. This is a smart move. There's nothing bad that can come from this, unless, of course, there's an extra base hit and the runs that scored are multiplied. But the philosophy behind the tactic is well understood. If this inning goes on any longer, I don't believe that an 11th inning will be played.
These types of games, you just hate to see it possibly come down to darkness, you know? You play this long, a hard-fought game between two teams that already played a great first game at Lowell Park a week ago. And to see it end because of the nightlife has to be frustrating.
First pitch on the way to the pinch hitter, Alex Perez. Check that. That's not Alex Perez. Swing and a miss. Count to 0-1. Check on who this is. Roster hasn't been updated. Swing and a miss again. The mystery man, number 8. Swings and misses at 2 pitches. Count to 0-2 on Mystery. Mystery man comes from, I don't know, university, located in somewhere, USA. Swing and a miss. Kenny Towns was his name. Doesn't matter. He's gone swinging. Jeff Kinley gets him on 3 pitches. We'll head to the bottom of the 10th. Kettleers have a chance to win it. Steve Englert is lining up his defensive alignment. This should be interesting when we come back.
Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletic Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today,
some defensive changes for you before we begin the bottom of the 10th. Anthony Hermelin comes in behind the plate to do the catching, and Angelo Amendolara will take over for Kevin Biggio at second base. Jake Fincher steps to the plate. 2 for 4 with a run scored. First pitch from McGarry on the way. Curveball low and away for ball 1. John Norwood stands on deck. McGarry winds, kicks, 1-0. Fastball misses low and in, counts at 2-0. Some action loosening in the Kettler bullpen beyond left field should this game go to an 11th inning. 2-0. Fastball right down Broadway. 96 from McGarry. Seth McGarry pitches very much like Hideo Nomo. He brings his back almost all the way to the plate. 2-1, chopped foul. Behind home plate, count even at 2-2. He sets in a stretch and then rotates his hips about 90 degrees and then whips back to the plate. 2-2. Fincher skies it out of play to the right side. Annunziata looks at it, but it falls out of play. McGarry actually, in the windup, first time we've seen him in the windup, he stands tall, crouches down, and then winds. Crouches down, winds, 2-2. Fincher hits it out to center field, 3 for 5. Jake Fincher continues to up the average. The winning run, standing at first for the Kettleers. John Norwood steps to the plate. Singled in his last at bat. Was forced out at second on a fielder's choice back in the 8th. Double-barreled action for the Kettleers in the bullpen. A lefty and a righty. We'll get you those names if we can. Norwood shows bunt, pulls back. Taken for ball 1. Corners charging. Fincher being held on at first by Annunziata. McGarry looks back. Sets at the belt. Throws to first. Fincher back safely. The outfield playing as deep as humanly possible. Happ almost to the fence in left field. Bolt deep in left center. Quick throw to first. Fincher back safely. And Mike Roberts is arguing for a balk. He is chatting with third base umpire Matt McMahon, who's standing out at second base. 3 umpires in the Cape League, so not all 4 bases manned. Now Rudy Firmbach comes out to talk with Mike Roberts, and he's arguing that Seth McGarry balked. Roberts continues to argue, and as much as arguing might even help, the call's not going to change. But what Coach Roberts has to remember here, you're running out of light. You're possibly costing your team an opportunity to extend this game another inning should they not score. Remember the controversy the other night when the Kettleers were not afforded the opportunity to bat in the bottom of the ninth against the Chatham Anglers. Not that it really would have mattered. Chatham was up 7-2. Count remains 1-0 on John Norwood, wearing number 27. Slightly open stance. Norwood shows bunt. Bunts it foul. Down the first base side. Count to 1-1.
It's a tough line to walk because as passionate as he is about some calls that don't go his way, you're right. You're running out of darkness. You want to have a chance to win the game. Nobody out a guy at first. I think you just move on from it. Trust your offense to come through.
1-1. Norwood shows bunt again. Pulls back. Taken for strike 2.
That's a tough pitch. Tough pitch to bunt because it bites right at the end. And Norwood had his knee down to lay down the bunt, pulled away because it was coming at him, and then it broke in last second.
But that's smart of McGarry to throw a curveball, knowing that Norwood was going to bunt no matter what. 1-2. Norwood hits down the ground to short. Throw to second for 1. On to first. Double play. 6-4-3. And that ends the inning. No, it doesn't. I'm an idiot. There's only 2 outs. Sorry there, friends. Miscalculated the situation. But a 6-4-3 double play. Gonzalez to Amendolara to Annunziata. Brings up Rhett Wiseman. Wiseman 0 for 4 with a fielder's choice. McGarry back in the windup. Kicks, delivers the first pitch fastball, low and away for ball 1. Wiseman hit 4 home runs last season with the 2013 Kettleers. You hear one of them every night on our broadcast open. Wiseman slices it foul down the left field line. Count even up at 1-1. Wiseman only hit 1 home run this year at Vanderbilt. Big gap out in right center. McGarry winds, kicks, 1-1. Curveball misses low and in. Count to 2-1. It's just past 8 o'clock here at Lowell Park. 2-1 upcoming. Fastball misses away. Count to 3-1. The rule is stated regarding darkness. Lowell Park, for those of you who have not been here in Kentuit, Massachusetts, does not have lights. If you start an inning, you will have to finish it. So the umpires have to make a determination as to whether they can start the 11th inning should it be possible. 3-1, fastball misses outside. That's ball 4. Wiseman, the winning run, stands at first. Logan Taylor steps to the plate. So basically, from what I can determine, if they follow the rules correctly, this is the last inning. There's not enough time, should this go to an 11th inning, for the game to finish. Pick off to first, Wiseman back safely. Dives in. Dave Turco, the first base umpire, says that Wiseman gets it in just under the tag of Sal Nunziata. Quick throw again to first. McGarry trying to keep Nunziata honest. Logan Taylor, a single and an RBI back in the third. He's 1 for 4. Righty-righty matchup. Third baseman from Texas A&M. Another throw. This now might be Steve Englert stalling.
I mean, for his ball club, the best they get out of this is a tie, if this is indeed the last half inning.
First pitch to Logan Taylor. Curveball misses inside, or hits the inside, I should say. 0-1 the count on Taylor. Outfield back. Fincher led off the inning with a single. Norwood grounded into a double play. Wiseman walked. 0-1, swing and a miss. Nasty changeup. McGarry's got good stuff.
And if I'm McGarry right now, I don't throw one fastball the rest of this at bat. You have to be confident in your off-speed stuff, but don't allow Taylor to turn on a pitch down the heart of the plate.
0-2. He throws a fastball. Pumps it at 96. When you can throw a fastball 96 miles an hour, you should throw it. McGarry in the stretch. Wiseman, short lead. He's going. Hit and run. Foul straight back. Wiseman hesitated, skipped off, and then started going. He'll retreat to first. I'm no Nostradamus, but this game is over should the Kettleers not score here. 1-2 on the way. In the dirt. Hermelin keeps it in front of him. 2's across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 5-5 tie. Bottom of the 10th. McGarry looks at first. Wiseman takes a lead. Throw over. Kettleers Insider post-game show coming up after the conclusion of this ball game. McGarry sets at the belt, delivers. Fastball misses low and away. Count goes to full, 3-2. Drew Jackson stands on deck for the Kettleers. Winning run at first. 2 outs, full count. Kettleers have 15 hits. Mariners have 10.
What's huge here, the runner's in motion.
3-2, broken bat, right back to McGarry. He picks it up, flips to first. That retires the side. We'll stay here as the umpires gather. Mike Roberts coming towards home plate. As the umpires gather, the rule, like we said, is to determine whether the inning can be finished. Because if it gets to a point where you cannot finish the 11th inning, that gives the home team no opportunity to win the ball game. Fernbach chatting with Mike Roberts, and now Steve Englert comes out of the dugout. There's going to be a determination made as the three of them gather. Kinley and Rice, along with Jake Fincher, have taken the field. No other Kettleers have taken the field, and no Harwich Mariners have batting helmets on. Kinley's now going to warm up. The Kettleers are now taking the field.
Well, now the more and more they discuss this, it's just going to waste more daylight.
Handshakes.
That's it.
And this ball game is over. A 5-5 tie. The second straight home game. Called due to darkness. The Kettleers snap their 3-game losing streak, but they don't win. A game they should have won based upon the scenarios. But at the end of the day, it snaps the losing streak, and the Kettleers get their first tie of the season against the Harwich Mariners, 5-5.
Ideally, you'd like to come out with a W. And sadly, you point back to Drew Jackson's drop pop-up. to make the difference in the game.
There's a lot of different ways that you can describe what happened here, but there was a multitude of missed opportunities. But at the end of the day, let's take a break. Killers Insider Postgame Show coming up next.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Chatham Bars Inn is a leading sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, celebrating its 100th anniversary. A Cape League sponsor for over 20 years. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. Today's broadcast is proudly sponsored in part by Curry College, located in Milton, Massachusetts. It offers undergraduate and graduate degrees. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by iHealth Services, proud sponsor of the Cape League for 14 years. The Kettleers and Cotuit Athletics Association want to welcome Bank of Cape Cod as a premium sponsor and member of the Executive Kettleers Club. Bank of Cape Cod is a locally owned and managed commercial and community bank. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Care where you need it, when you need it.
It's time for the Kettleers Insider Postgame Show on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. With the wrap on tonight's game, here's Greg Moraz and Brendan Glasheen.
A 5-5 tie here at Lowell Park on a Sunday evening in Cotuit. A multitude of opportunities for the Kettleers to extend their lead. They took the lead in the first on a sac fly by John Norwood. It scored Grant Kay after Jake Fincher doubled Kay over to third. But Harwich got 3 back, sending 9 men to the plate, none of them scoring on any base hit. The first run, a sac fly by Sky Bolt. The second run, a wild pitch that scored Brendan Sanger. And a bases loaded hit by pitch of Matt Gonzalez brings in Matt Wynn. So it was 3-1 at that point, but Cotuit kept fighting back. They got a run on an RBI single by Ian Rice in the second. That made it 3-2. Took the lead on an RBI ground out by John Norwood that tied the game in the third. And then Logan Taylor, an RBI single. He was eventually picked off when Drew Jackson came to the plate. That gave the Kettleers a 4-3 lead. Then, Kettleers had an insurance run, a leadoff double by Drew Jackson, a bloop double to say the least. It was a double that nobody was going to get to. All 2 infielders and 2 outfielders came back and in on the balls and weren't able to get to them. Ian Rice then had another RBI single that scored Jackson, made it 5-3. But the 8th inning, that 8th inning, that's where everything turned to dust. C.J. Hinojosa led it off with a single. Sal Annunziata then followed with another single. A sac bunt by Danny Zardone moved both runners up to second and third. Brendan Sanger then hit a blooped single into shallow center field. Hinojosa could score easily. Annunziata, had he been running on the pitch, would have been able to score as well. That would have tied the game up immediately. But It was a ball that Jake Fincher out in center field had a chance to get to, but wasn't able to completely get to it. So Annunziata only able to get to third. Then, a controversial play. Matt Wynn hits a ground ball to third. Logan Taylor flips to second to force out Sanger. Grant Kay then flips it back to first on a bang-bang play, which Mike Roberts argued. Had the double play happened, that would have ended the inning. But Wynn called safe, so runners at first and third with 2 outs, and that brought up Sky Bolt. And Sky Bolt hit a lazy pop-up. Normally, Drew Jackson, very sure-handed in the infield, would have made the catch, the inning would have been over, and the Kettleers would have gone to the ninth, would have gone to the bottom of the eighth, with a 5-4 lead. And for some reason or another, the ball popped out of Drew Jackson's glove. It allowed Annunziata to score and tie the game at 5. Harwich then threatened again. Or rather, yes, Harwich threatened again in the ninth. They got 2 men on with 1 out. But Sal Annunziata, in a hitter's count against Jeff Kinley, grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. Drew Jackson was spectacular at short. He started 4 double plays. But the only thing he's going to be remembered for tonight is the drop pop-up. So, now you go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Nothing really happened in the 10th. But in the 9th, Brendan Hendricks gets on, or Jameson Fisher, gets on a hit by pitch. Colin Shaw pinch runs. Ian Rice singles. Shaw moves to second. Jackson Klein strikes out. That's 2 outs. Brings up Grant Kay. Kay singles. And Colin Shaw blows through what wasn't a stop sign or a hold sign and gets thrown out at the plate by Ian Happ in left. And that basically did it. So, Brendan Glasheen is back up in the booth with our star Kettleer here today. Grant Kay, the second baseman from Louisville. And, well, Grant, you went 4 for 5 today. Probably one of your best outputs of the season. You've been basically hot ever since you got here. Is there a comfortability level for you now that you're here and now that you've been with the team for a week? Are you settling into your role?
Yeah, definitely. I just got moved in with my host family, and I'm loving it here so far. All the kids on the team, the coaches. It's a great experience, and I'm feeling a lot more comfortable.
You got a good pitch to hit in that 9th inning to try and bring in Colin Shaw. He rounds second base. As it turns out, the play at the plate, your perception of that whole play.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say it was a good pitch to hit. I'd say I got a little lucky. It was a really good pitcher's pitch, good breaking ball, and I stayed on the ball and hit a line drive to left field. And in that situation, I think you got to try to push all your chips in, and you got to try to send the runner just because tie game, and you might not be able to get another hit off him.
Got a question though. In the 8th inning, when you turn the potential double play on the Matt Wynn ground ball, he beat the runner out. Coach Roberts comes out to argue. In your opinion, was Wynn safe or out at first because the next batter, Sky Bolt, hits the pop-up in the infield that ends up getting dropped by Drew Jackson?
Yeah, if you ask me, I'm going to say he's out every time right there. But still, I think I could have thrown it a little better, maybe right to his chest instead of a little bit to the right, where it's just an easier call for the umpire to make when it's just right there.
And I don't mean to continue to bring up the tough plays, but Drew Jackson drops a routine pop-up, a guy that's been sound defensively over at short all season. When that type of play happens to a player, and you know he feels terrible, the game kind of falls back to that situation. How do you guys pick up a guy when something like that happens?
Yeah, I mean, it happens to everybody. I made even a couple errors this year. Drew Jackson, kid from Stanford, he's a stud shortstop. The kid's got a great arm, good glove, and it's too bad to see him make an error right there, but I know he's going to bounce back because he's a great player.
All right, Grant Kay, thank you very much. Actually, you know what? One more question for you while we have you. The losing streak snapped, but no winning streak started. First tie of the year. Step in the right direction. What do you guys have to do as a team? What is your team-wide goal to make sure that you can come out of tomorrow's game against Falmouth with a W.
Yeah, offensively, I think we made a lot of strides today. We hit the ball well, stole some bases, even though we got a couple runners picked off, including myself. I think offense is looking a lot better. Still, I think some guys out of our bullpen and some starters need to come in right away and just get ahead, throw strikes. I think there's too many walks, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
All right, Grant, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Grant Kay, our star Kettleer of today's ball game, joining us up in the broadcast booth. Brendan Glasheen rejoins us here on the Kettleers Insider Post-Game Show. And we talk about Drew Jackson defensively. He started 4 double plays tonight. But the one thing that he's going to be remembered for, and it's just a shame that it happens,
It's baseball.
is the drop pop-up.
That's how it works.
But the reason I asked Grant Kay about the turn double play is that had Wynn been called out at first, the drop pop-up never happens.
Right.
The inning's over.
Right.
And more than likely, the result of the game is different. You go to the 9th inning with a 5-4 lead. Now, nobody knows exactly what would have happened, but I look back at the 3 moments we talked about in this game. Those 2, and then Ian Happ throwing out Colin Shaw at the plate. I think it would be interesting during tomorrow's Roberts Report to find out from Coach, whether he'll say or not, whether that was actually a stop sign or whether he just decided to let Colin Shaw have free rein as to what he was going to do.
Again, based on what I saw on that particular play, Colin Shaw is booking it on his secondary lead once Grant Kay makes connection with the bat. He had every intention of going no matter what. If it was a stop sign, if Coach Roberts was just waving to say hi to him, it doesn't matter. He had no intentions of stopping. Now, I'm not saying he is correct for doing that, but in that situation, I guess you understand Colin Shaw just being aggressive, wants to win the game for the club, and he gets thrown out. A good play also. You got to give a lot of credit to that throw because it was up the line. It worked out perfectly with the tag by Wynn at the plate. So that's a type of play where I would agree. I would love to ask Coach Roberts and figure out what the play was. But at the end of the day, you got to give Shaw a lot of credit. Coming into the game as a pinch runner and being aggressive on the base paths. You can't fault a player that runs aggressively on the base paths if that is the type of thing you preach to your players. Coach Roberts loves small ball and stealing bases. For a guy rounding third, working his butt towards home plate, I really don't think he can give much blame to Shaw. But again, a worthy question to ask.
Before we go around the out-of-town Coca-Cola of Cape Cod scoreboard update, Falmouth tomorrow, a team that was a heartbreaking loss on Thursday, a walk-off walk issued by Taylor Durant. This is a Falmouth team that started off slow. They're now trending in the right direction. Falmouth is back. There's no question about it. They're probably the second-best team in the division right now behind the Bourne Braves. What do you got to do tomorrow? Because this is a game. I mean, you look at the trajectory of this ball game. If everything plays out as it should, Cotuit ends up winning this ball game. The losing streak is snapped, and, our conversation right now is completely different. But that's not the way baseball works. That's not the way any of it works. And, I mean, I look at it from the perspective of you catch a tough break, but the team is fighting back.
I'll tell you something. One thing that I've learned in the last half hour about baseball. It's a good analogy you should think of, Greg. Baseball is like a rocking chair. It's a back and forth type of game where you never know what's going to happen. This ball club has been on the good side of the chair and the bad side of the chair in games. Not game to game, not over a streak of 5 or 10 games. I'm talking in each individual game. The Kettleers have been back and forth. They have responded to adversity in the middle of games. Then they've made mistakes the following half innings to allow leads to get away. We talked about the execution on shutdown innings. They're not getting that. So this team has yet to put together a complete 9-inning ball game in recent games. They've done it multiple times. The game against Bourne is one that reminds you of one. At Hyannis a couple weeks back, a 6-2 win that snapped another 2-game losing streak. Those are the 2 games to me that stand out as complete 9-inning games in which they can play a complete baseball game. Specifically on Falmouth, a ball club, we saw a 3-2 game on a walk-off walk Thursday night at Arnie Allen Diamond. That was a game where, if you're a Kettleers fan, you know that your real rivalry stands with Hyannis for the Barnstable Patriot Cup. However, Falmouth, on their end, they find the Kettleers as their number one rival in this league. They get up for every game against Cotuit each and every season for each of the 6 games. If you saw Game 1 and you listened to our broadcast of Game 1 or wherever you heard, these two teams are going to go neck and neck for the rest of the season. I think it's going to be another close game in which I don't know where it's going to go. However, based on the way Cotuit's played in the latter half of games, it could go Falmouth's way. It wouldn't surprise me.
And now we will go with our final Coca-Cola of Cape Cod scoreboard update. And Brendan, let's see what the results are.
Stony Brook Field in Brewster, the Whitecaps fall once again to the YD Red Sox 3-2. Top of the 8th at Doran Park in Bourne, a 6-3 lead for the Falmouth Commodores. Chatham Anglers have a 7-3 lead on the Hyannis Harborhawks. Hyannis is on the verge of losing their 6th straight. That's top of the 8th at McKeon Park. And finally, yet to go underway, Eldridge Park, pregame between Orleans and the Gatemen. Actually, check that. No, that's a final at Eldridge Park. The Orleans Firebirds defeat the Gatemen 5-1.
I think there was an unplanned doubleheader. The game is listed twice. So, anywho, that's going to do it for us here from Lowell Park. Kettleers fall to 9-12-1. Mariners fall, you could say, to 13-8-1. For my broadcast partner, Brendan Glasheen, for our Director of Video Operations, Axel Bowada, my name's Greg Moraz. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on the air tomorrow at 4:40 for the second of this 3-game homestand between the Kettleers and the Falmouth Commodores. For now, I'm Greg Moraz. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night, friends, from Lowell Park.
Thanks for listening to the Kettleers Insider Post-Game Show on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Tonight's broadcast has been brought to you by Chatham Bars Inn, Fuller Family Foundation, Curry College, iHealth Services, Cape Cod Healthcare, Coca-Cola, 99 Restaurants, Friendly's Ice Cream, Rockland Trust, Reebok, and the Baseball Factory. For more Cotuit Kettleers coverage, visit www.kettleers.org.
Welcome into Broadcaster